outside. It's packed.
Heard that Saudi Arabia and Russia will repeat your.
Our army manned the air. It ran the ramparts. It took over the airports. It did everything it had to do. Asshole.
Yeah, no, she's crazy. She is totally nuts.
I think people saw that loud and clear.
De-engineering. Action replays in magnified fortune.
All right, I think there's sound. We're out on all the sites. Everything's rolling. Chat room, are you there? All right. Almost there. Almost there. At least once. All right, join me. Welcome to Space Station Hal. There it was. We finally got a look at it, which is good. This is the exterior of the ship. Hi, what's happening? Hello, chat room. Good to see you. I have to go over to the communications area. I think it's too much to have that do that every time we go. I think it's too much. But hi, what's going on? Hello, good to see you. What's happening? By the way, the story out of Michigan gets just funnier and funnier. If you don't know, the Democrats have taken over the House, the state Senate in Michigan, much to the chagrin of Republicans, thinking that these shifts in the politics of states to the point where like they're losing seats in Alabama and places like that. That's just one-off little things. That has nothing to do with a greater pattern that follows in that lays in the shadow in many ways of the red wave that wasn't. So yeah, pretty good time. Now I will say that in looking at, I guess I shouldn't be that surprised. I had to look very hard to find stuff about the Trump case. Now I'll show you an example. You would think that in this circumstance, and by the way, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe and let people know we're here. The like is the thing that blows us up in the algorithm the most and makes us show up in all the feeds, especially, by the way, Facebook. Facebook folks, if you use an emoji to like the show or hate it, quite frankly, I think it responds better to the hate emoji. If you do that on Facebook, that pushes me up into the algorithm. More people will see the show. I'm sure the same thing is true on Instagram. If you're watching on Instagram, you'll see me like this. You just see a version of it. If you have Instagram, check it out. It's pretty cool. But anyways, I made entirely different vertical scenes just to try and make the show. Although it is a bit weird when I'm gesturing this way and it's happening above me. But what are you going to do? I mean, okay. So, never fight uphill, me boys. Absolutely. No. I had a hard time finding, there's obviously footage of Trump wandering around fucking New York and bitching about stuff and whatever. But there's a lot of stuff like news stories that are more about just I don't know, they're just like shiny object stories to get people to not talk about the hush money trial, which just shows you that the biggest dig on this is that I got news for you too. It doesn't matter if Trump is convicted in this case. He will be, in my estimation. He's not going to go to jail because he's a first offender, because it's the first one. You know, it's the first of these trials. So technically, he'll be a convicted felon in his next trial when he's sentenced. But he's a first time offender for all practical purposes in a legal sense in this one. So there's no way he's going to jail for this. Big fine, very possibly. And because of his elder status and campaigning, there'll be a reason why they would hold it in abate and blah, blah, blah. Big fine or maybe house arrest at most. But that's what I think. Anyways, either way, it doesn't matter. Yes, this will be the embarrassing trial. This is the one that makes those 9 minutes he has with Melania twice a month really painful and annoying. It makes family discussions about the case difficult, because the classified documents case to them sounds like intrigue. It sounds like something that's, just like spy dry work, as it were. And they're like, well, we're dealing with classified. We had access to this stuff. There's something pruriently cool about it. This case is just fucking embarrassing to the family. So you got to talk about it without talking about it. It's so good. Anyways, and he's going to shit himself during the trial while he's sitting there and make a giant, like, huge, clumpian, wet fart noise along the lines of, actually, probably closer to, yeah, you know what I mean? And it's going to it'll be news. I'm just telling you. And then the day after that, he'll be walking funny because he'll try to like stuff a cork up his own ass so it doesn't happen again. And just like the sleeping thing, it'll happen the next day because he's nervous about it. And yeah, his pants will be full of
soup for my family.
That's right. He's just gonna yell that out as soon as he's gonna. This is my impersonation of Donald Trump in court.
Soup for my family.
He's just gonna yell that out in the middle of the thing. So they're gonna be that like they're gonna have to take him to the bathroom. His like attorneys are gonna have to do it, and then people will be walking out of the bathroom with
people coming over with bags of soup, big bags of soup.
Yeah. So, anyways, it is disgusting, but it's true. I'm just telling you. If anything Noel Castler said was true, that's going to happen. Yeah. Unless they're just feeding him like iron supplements and cheese. Like, he's not allowed to eat anything. No taco bowls for you. But I don't understand.
Captain's log.
So I'm calling it. That said, it's a very awkward conversation, nevertheless, with the family. And so a lot of the clips that I'm seeing, they're talking around it. I will say right out of the gate, we do have an old reliable who seriously went to the mat multiple times for Trump and will continue. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you Greg Kelly, the most miserable man on the internet, back with his paper props. And I guess it's going to be 200,000 versus 130,000. Maybe that's the case he's talking about. Never mind the fact that, by the way, both of these checks.
Sell my stake in the company, retire, resign as
hold on, that's
the CEO,
thing.
And leave the country.
Go away. Hold on.
I chose the latter.
Chose the letter.
Sorry.
This is another interview that's way too long, and I'm hoping for clips of eventually. But all right, we're back where we were. That's Tucker Carlson interviewed the dude who started Telegram, who you'll be surprised to find out has a Russian name and was yeah. Anyways, I know, shocking. And while the I guess their headquarters are in Dubai, oddly enough, all the servers are in Russia. I don't get it. It's probably just coincidence. Anyways. All of your communications are in Russia in the servers there if you use Telegram in any meaningful way. Just, Shocking, I know. So, anyways, their agenda to steer Trump off the campaign trail. So they're not trying to enforce the law. It's just they're trying to get him off the campaign trail. Okay, first of all, he views this as the campaign trail. This keeps him from, it gives him an excuse not to do rallies at night where he would barf up bullshit about, I don't know, not fighting uphill, me boys. Boy. So anyways, this is Greg Kelly's take on, just the attacks against Trump. And you're going to see a man lay down what's left of his brain for a dude who was buddies with Jeffrey Epstein for over 2 decades. And only their friendship only ended over a piece of property.
All the trouble that Trump has been through, this fake trouble, the legal cases, we know there.
Hey, asshat, it's real trouble. You can say fake charges if you really believe that, which you don't, but whatever. But it's real trouble. If you go to jail, ask anybody who went to jail, I don't know, because of trumped up charges, no pun intended, or because of they looked like the actual killer or something like that. Ask those people if the trouble they got in was real versus the fake actual charges or what have you, or the mistaken identity or whatever. So this is real trouble, asshat. Yeah.
There's been a platinum lining around it all.
A platinum lining? I thought that was banana peel blonde. What platinum? All right.
It made him essentially, it helped make him the nominee. I mean, he probably wouldn't have locked it up as quickly had it not been for this. It backed.
What? This time around? He's not talking about 2016. You really think that he wouldn't have been the nominee without these cases? Like if they hadn't attacked him, what? It was only because he was indicted that people didn't vote for him over Haley? What the fuck?
Fired on the Democrats, but that doesn't mean it won't work a little bit to their.
A little bit. Oh, you mean the whole like bringing up the fact that he's a pussy grabbing, unrepentant sex offender and an adjudicated rapist, and now he's in court over a particular payment to a porn star that he had a splurt with. We do not call it an affair. An affair is a veritable smorgasbord, as Templeton Zagat will tell you. But it is not an affair. Again, the emotional and sexual equivalent of someone popping a zit, and that was the extent of it. So, yeah, but bringing that up, and he's no longer got Mike Pence to grab all the evangelicals and go, no, it's going to be fine.
Advantage, at least right now, it seems to be. I'm sorry, I hate this, but Joe Biden gets to go to the critical swing state of Pennsylvania today.
Yeah, and killed it.
And talk about his Scranton roots and middle class this and Trump is that.
Which are all true. Trump is that. And if by that you mean a piece of shit.
While Donald Trump is in court. That's a problem.
It's a problem that you lick your lips when you say Donald Trump is in court. It's creeping me the fuck out. I call time out on that. Stop it.
Donald Trump is tied up, and this is part of the plan that, up until now, it's been a day in court here or a hearing there, but this is.
Yeah, that's how these things go. Especially if you have shit attorneys that can't get stuff dismissed, or you're that fucking guilty you don't have cause to have something dismissed.
This is going to last for a couple of weeks. And I don't like it. This. Which is, I gotta say, almost 100% why I do like it. I mean, sure, it's nice that Trump is getting tried for, trying to, what's it called? Election interference. Or he's, having his attorney pay off a porn star as his fixer and then reimbursing the guy for the money that he paid to her and then calling it a legal expense when there was nothing drawn from the expense and all that kind of shit. That's fine. I'm glad that's happening or whatever. But honestly, the classified documents case is the one that concerns me as an American overall, right? That's the big one, and that's the one that requires the most attention to detail, and that's the most important and endangered human lives the most. And I think the best thing about this one is it makes Greg Kelly even more miserable, and it keeps his status as the most miserable man on the internet. Is cheating. This is cheating.
No, it's not.
what he did with Stormy, I guess, is cheating. Yeah, I would just not bring up the word cheating if I were you. In this case, wait till the other one. No, cheating applies to all of them. Never mind.
Kind of like a football team arranged.
Or kind of like Trump and Karen McDougal and Trump and any number of like whatever fucking trophy Eastern European models that his buddy set up in an apartment for him, or fucking Stormy. Kind of like that kind of cheating.
For the team in the other district to be locked up in detention whenever it was time to practice, or maybe Olympic
whenever it was time to practice.
Athletes, they get their nutrition clean and very, very rich in nutrients and all that stuff. Imagine if the competition could only go to the candy store. Look.
Okay, first of all, Trump went to a bodega after court, dipshit. This is a terrible analogy. Anyways, I don't know what the fuck. How does this even apply? What do you... This makes... All right, this makes no fucking sense. There is no overlap. These are just ridiculous analogies. But I'd like to say for the record that Donald Trump, if given the choice between that food and this, would eat this. So, first of all, fuck off. Secondly, football versus detention. You're trying to say that, I guess in the analogy, technically, Biden is the athlete and Trump is in detention in that regard. Do you think he can, what do they do, pay to get them put in detention? They kind of have to do something to be in detention, don't they? Why am I trying to make sense of this? What the fuck is wrong with me? Why do I do this to myself? Why do I try to make these analogies work? Because it's how your brain works, Hal, and that's just part of what you have to deal. All right.
It's cheating right now, what we're seeing in this.
Stop saying cheating when dude fucking splurted in Stormy Daniels unprotected while his wife was at home with their 5-month-old.
Campaign in this election. Joe Biden has rigged it, so Donald Trump is.
Also, can I just say, I feel like we dodged a bullet in that I'm amazed he went to college women's sports without going to like men and women's bathrooms and shit. And, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like we kind of dodged a bigot bullet in that one moment. That I'm surprised. It seems like an unforced error on, like his bigotry, checklist.
In court while he gets to go to critical swing states. I don't like it. It's fascinating. Certain people in the conservative world are noticing and are outraged, but everybody else, this is
we don't give a fuck.
Just great. This is
everybody out. Couple of conservatives are pissed about it. Thank you, Georgina. We're good Lord. He's like, nobody else seems to give a fuck that Donald Trump is just in court and Joe Biden gets to go on campaigning as if he hasn't been indicted on. Well, he hasn't been indicted, as if he hasn't committed any. He hasn't committed any crimes. But
this is democracy.
Here's a good idea, dumbass. Explain to us why he's sitting in this particular courtroom. Not all the rest of them, just this one. This is the one you're bitching about. This is the one that's taking him off the campaign trail right fucking now. Right fucking now. So explain to me why. What happened? Tell us the story, Greg. Break it down for us.
Today on Inside Politics, the people of the state of New York versus Donald J. Trump. Right now, the former president is sitting in a court as a criminal defendant, keeping an eye on the prospective jurors who could make him a convicted felon. While Trump is in court, Biden is, quote,
yes, we know all these details.
Running the country. Today, he heads to his hometown of Scranton, Pennsylvania, to channel his working class roots and talk about taxes and the middle class.
Oh, isn't that nice? Running the country.
I just like watching him mad. I this is fucking great. Oh, super. Yeah, that's exactly how things should. Okay. Yeah. And this is America, I suppose, right now. Okay. And Joe just gets to go everywhere and nobody cares. And I'm sitting on the bus and everybody's flicking me in the ear and, making fun of I have my MAGA hat in my lap and nobody, I don't even wear it on my head because they give me shit about it.
While lying about his background, pretending he's somebody else.
Well, I'll give you this. So the idea is, this is a running story, is that Biden talks up his working class roots, and he talks about the communities he was surrounded by, where he grew up in. He grew up in whatever, and he talks in direct language when he's like, I grew up in the black church, I grew up in the, and what he means is during his entire time in the Senate, he's been in these organizations, going to church with them, being around them, you know, walking, marching, speaking, integrating with them, and comfortably so. And all this at the exact same time, by the way, in the late 70s, especially, where Donald Trump and his dad were trying to deny black people the right to rent in their building.
This is having an effect, and I don't like it. How many?
Can I just see it? How many say? Or do we have? I should have a counter going. How many times is he going to go? And I don't like it. I don't like. I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't. He's losing. I'm backing the loser. I don't know how to do it. I don't like it. It's bad.
20 days between now and the election.
It doesn't matter. He's going to lose.
Not as many as you might think. 202 days. This trial is scheduled to go on for how long? 6 weeks, 8 weeks, something like that. That means 42 to 56.
Don't do the math for your viewers, Greg. You're right now. You can just hear that in the distance. That's the slumping, wet thud of the bodies of your viewers trying to follow along with the math and blacking out and landing their head like on the coffee table. Most of them will be saved by some soft food, easily digestible, often in a bag.
Days, 20% of the rest of the campaign, Donald Trump is supposed to be in court unless he's going to.
Excuse me, Greg. Fuck, man. What are you talking about? MAGA is the greatest political movement, not just in the modern era, but in the history of the interactions of human beings at cause for a value system that they, what's the word for that? Politics. In the history of politics, right? It's the great, why does he even have to campaign? Right? He got, last time, Greg, you think he got 100 million votes last time, dumb fuck. He could lose 8 million votes and still win. Why does he have to campaign? Isn't everything a campaign? He's just an example. You know what I mean? I don't understand. What are they going to hear from him? What's his plan? I'm sorry. Do you think he's really going to finally, like, they're trying to tie him up so he can't finally release his health care plan after what's 2 weeks times 1,000?
Be arrested? He knows this is a problem. He has a way of turning things around, right?
Yeah, so he does. He has a way of turning things around, like his father's fortune. Turned that around right into bankruptcy. Casinos. You know, everybody has a plan. He had a plan for turning around that casino. Lost money on it. I mean, The Apprentice, he had a plan for turning that around, and then the ratings took a shit, and that's why he ran for president in the first place. And then he's got a plan when he gets in president, like Mexico paying for the wall. Turned that right around, never happened. It was literally paid for with veterans funds.
He does, and he does, but it is an issue.
He does, and he does? What? What are you talking about?
Things around, right? He does, and he does.
Oh, I see. Trump and God. Together again, they fall in love and fight crime. No. So it's like Simon and Simon, but it's Trump and God. You suck, Donald. Hey, you know, if I actually believed in you, I might have heard that.
But it is an issue.
I should be right now in Pennsylvania, in Florida, in many other states, North Carolina, Georgia.
All the places your internal polling is telling you are losing.
Campaigning. This is all coming from the Biden White House because the guy can't put two sentences together.
I don't know. I counted more than 2 sentences in that bit where he said a guy came up to me all downtrodden and said, you know, he's overwhelmed with debt, and I said, I'm sorry, Donald, I can't help you. I think there were more than 2 sentences in that, I got to say. The other one, there was another one where he put 2 sentences together where he said, if Donald Trump's DJT stock drops anymore, he'll do better under my tax plan than his. I mean, that's more than, yeah, that's more than 2 sentences. Also, if he can't put 2 sentences together and he's completely incompetent and the country's going to hell, again, isn't that the campaign? Seriously, if that shit was true, anybody in my chat, myself, we could all run for office. It'd be the easiest fucking campaign ever. Hi, you don't even know much about me, but I would do this, 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 and this. And if I even get close to doing any of it, it's certainly better than you living in a hollowed out crater. Like, look at Portland. It's completely on fire. # rip Portland. And there's no jobs in the, like, there's just animals running everywhere and zombies in the streets, and we're overrun with stabby migrants, right? If any of that was true, shouldn't you be able to campaign just like, look, I'm just running against that nonsense. We don't need any of this shit. I don't care who that guy is. We got to fix this stuff. He's not going to fix it. Look, it's his. He made this. I'm going to fix it, right?
He can't campaign. They're using this in order to try.
He's literally campaigning. Greg was just making the point that he's campaigning while you can't. He's literally campaigning.
And win an election, and it's not working that way. It's working the opposite way.
You're saying he can't put 2 sentences together, and he's working the opposite way. So he is putting 2 sentences together. I got you.
So check that out. Legal expense. It's called legal expense.
It's called legal expenses. It's called legal expenses. That's what I did. I just paid for it. Oops, I just admitted the fucking crime on television. Fuck me. What the hell?
That's what you're supposed to call it.
More on the legal expenses in a moment, but yeah.
And he does mean moron.
Yeah, right. He's not where he should be. And even
you're right. He should be in jail. I don't know what to tell you. Yes, he should already be in jail. It is only because of his privileged fucking life that he isn't already in the hoosecow, the cement condo.
even here in New York, it's funny that he picked New York County. That's Manhattan. This is the one county that Donald Trump
with people in it.
Trump lost to another Republican, actually. John Kasich, remember that guy?
Yes. The guy who arguably might have a fighting chance in an alternate universe against Biden this time around, but Republicans would scuttle it.
Back in 2016 in the primary.
What, you're not showing Biden in the counties that went to Biden? That's weird.
Lost to John Kasich. Another thing that's going on, there are major issues, of course, right, confronting this country. Crime, the border,
which is a crime.
Other things. That's
other things. Crime, the border, other things. Fuck, he's good at news. I mean, I don't even know where how do you develop that kind of skill?
Right, confronting this country. Crime, the border, other things. That's all for the media.
Yeah. Crime, the border, other things.
Media and a lot of other people to the side. Don't worry about it because we have juror number 4 to worry about. Did they fill out the questionnaire? What did they say? How did Donald Trump look at the person? That kind of important stuff.
It kind of is important. Like it's the first trial of its kind. It's kind of news, Greg. If you knew anything about news, you'd know that that's news. Even if you don't like it, which you clearly don't, and you shouldn't, and I'm happy you're upset. But of course they're going to talk about it. This is like fucking Rusty Trombone and his bullshit. Like, they're acting like this is news. It is fucking news.
All the pretrial.
Look at the two back and forth. Univision, El Paso, Texas. This is on the Mexico side of the. I guess they can run for the wall.
Motions happening in court, whether it was about recusal or sanctions for violating the gag order alleged.
Look at that Look at that little kid. Fucking terrifying. If he gets through, we're all done.
Now
That's not a Guatemalan toddler. That's a Mexican Chucky if I've ever seen one. Just jump on your shoulder and stab, stab.
We're in the thick of jury selection. The goal here is to ultimately seat a jury of 12
You see what I
jurors and
mean?
6 alternates. We're not going
No, I don't.
to debate whether there's a two-tiered system. He's getting
All
super
Trump,
special
nothing about
treatment.
crime.
We know, Evan, that there are no
No, they talk about crime, and they talk about the border. They're just not talking about it right then. You don't get to make super cuts that cut out every other conversation.
cameras in the courtroom, but
All
he's
Alvin
talking to the
Bragg.
cameras outside. He is posting on social media all day, every day while he's in the courtroom.
Oh, they don't want that either?
You're the first juror.
No, they don't. And also, he's not posting, for the record. He is not posting while he's in court. He can't. He's not allowed to be on his phone. He's sitting there. Someone else is doing it for them. They set up a bunch of shit before he goes into court, and then they drop it out. What do you think? He's reacting to something that's really happening in real time on Truth Sinkhole? That's a good one. Yeah, Truth Sinkhole. I think that should be what we call it. I've been trying to find a mispronunciation phrase that we can roll back to, but I think nothing explains that shithole better than Truth Sinkhole. It's exactly what it is. All right. So, anyways, so he's not posting to Truth Sinkhole. He's got like whatever. Not Stephen Miller. The other guy. One of the Millers. Shemp Miller is laying that shit out. Yeah. Truth Sinkhole. Score. Right.
Of the morning to be asked that 42-question questionnaire is currently...
What? Oh, I see. It was Israel. It was an explosion.
Israel's under assault, and we're worried about juror questions.
Hi, dummy. That's not Israel. That's in Gaza. That's on the other side of it. And it's not technically under assault right now. They're responding to the assault. I mean, I guess if you want to show a Hezbollah explosion, perhaps, or even you've got the footage of the fucking missiles from Iran, right? But you can't show those. You know why? Because we helped shoot them down, and it was a successful operation, and Biden's trying to stop them from expanding.
Questionnaires.
Nearly 2/3 of that first batch of 96 individuals.
And Joe Biden is off the hook in all of this stuff.
What hook, you dumb fuck?
All of it.
What? What do you mean, what all of it? They're totally engaged in all of these areas. Crime is coming down. So is inflation. Wages are going up. Union representation is climbing. Manufacturing is coming back. We are reshoring chip factories and essential technologies back to the United States. And by the way, all things that Trump could have done while he was president, but he just fucking didn't want to.
Let's talk about the essence of the case. Donald Trump.
Yes, the essence. Yes, let's. I have to tell something about this. Hold on. Where is it? He's got to be here somewhere. Where has it gone? We don't know. There it is. Ah, yes. Hello. We must talk about the essence. Don't forget. We must talk about the essence. Yes. Of the case. The case is very important, because in the essence of it, he's going to probably make the case that an affair was had, and I'm going to tell you once again, this was not an affair. As a personal charge d'affaires, I've been called the charge d'affaires of the official housebox Megaworldwide. And by the way, I never charge an affair, always pay cash, Just leave it on the dresser with a little wink and walk away. It's important, but the thing I need you to know is that this was not an affair he had, and if you try to use this fucking out, where you say, oh, it wasn't an affair, I totally agree. It was a little, and that's it. It was a goodbye. That's all. He rolled over on top of her with his seething nunt and his undulating abdomen, which requires no muscular movement at all. It simply goes with the tides and the phases of the moon or something. And he pushed his teeny little toadstool up against her, and he squeezed out some toothpaste onto her belly button. That's what kind of a fail this was, okay? I'm telling you.
Trump writes a check. Can I see the check? Okay. What's the problem? He wrote a
He wrote a check. What? Who cares why he wrote the check, okay? You know, let's say a woman, I don't know, hires a couple of Okies to kill her husband, and she puts, I don't know, she gets $20,000 out of their joint bank account. Is that illegal? No. She takes 10,000 and puts it in two separate envelopes. Since when is it illegal to put $10,000 in a yellow envelope? Hello, freedoms are being destroyed all around us, okay? Who cares why she put the money in the yellow envelopes and left them on the seat of a truck in a parking lot while they pretended to... It's not important. The important thing is that paying people is not illegal. Even if what you're paying them to do is.
Check to his then lawyer, Michael Cohen, for $35,000. I got one right.
You got your own personal one? Did he sign that one for you? Is that a fresh one? Why would you print that out, you fucking weirdo?
Right here. What's the problem?
The problem is why he wrote it and what it directly reimbursed him for doing, stupid.
Check from a client to his lawyer.
Yes. What if, I'm just spitballing here. What if his lawyer did something illegal that the client was aware of on behalf of the client, and they tried to use attorney-client privilege to hide the illegal thing that they were doing together, because the attorney didn't have an affair, say, I'm just spitballing, with a woman while he was married, but somebody else did, whatever, and so he did, and so the money was paid specifically for a... Good Lord.
Now, I have another check. Joe Biden. He received a check from his brother for $200,000.
Oh, dear God. Are you saying that James Biden had an affair with Joe?
Which one is more worthy of investigation?
The Trump check. Because where the money went, dum-dum. Specifically.
Oh, Joe Biden, middle-class Joe, getting $200,000 from his brother who's doing business all over the world, or a
No, not all over the world. That money literally came from a loan he got from AmeriCorps as an American corporation.
wealthy man, Donald Trump, writing his own lawyer a $35,000 check. Which one causes the indictment, right?
The $35,000 check because it was written to participate in a crime, dummy. What the fuck? Hey, asshole. That's like saying one guy gave money to another person. That guy came up and said, hey, can I have all the money in your wallet? The guy was like, absolutely, go with God, and he handed it to him. And then another exchange, almost identical to that, happened, except the guy asking had a gun. What's the difference? What's the What's the difference? Oh my God.
What a corrupt system.
It is. It's totally, you know who I blame? I blame Trump.
We're going to be appointing very pro-crime judges.
The issue is that, I mean, what do you, if you can't have an affair, what do you do?
I had a beat off.
That's a good point. Well, I guess Greg thinks it should be nobody's business because Trump.
I was a private business people.
Yeah, he was a private business people. Yeah.
And do me a favor, Joe, if he ever brags about Scranton and lies about it too, you know, he talks about Scranton like it's some sort of hellhole. I've been there. It's a totally fine community.
Not a hellhole. It's working class, stupid. That says more about what you think about working class people, you dumb motherfucker. He's not saying he grew up in the ghetto. What the fuck is the matter with you?
But he is telling a tall tale about himself.
I grew up in Scranton. This is the house I was raised in Scranton, Pennsylvania. Where I come from is Scranton, Pennsylvania. Look, I see it differently. I don't look at the economy through the eyes.
Are we going to do this same shit where they moved when he was 8 or some shit? And so he wasn't born there, so he's not really, or they left Delaware when he was 13 and he grew up there, but he left at some point. Like, we went through this shit last time. This is fucking dumb. I grew up in Kentucky, but I went to high school in Chicago. I would argue that more of my personality came about because of the freedom of being in Chicago and being able to articulate myself and explore the artistry that I was interested in Chicago than in Kentucky. But there's no question I grew up in Peeks Mill, Kentucky till I was 14 years old. No question. And
of Wall Street or Park Avenue, I look it through the eyes of the people I grew up with in Scranton, Pennsylvania.
Well, he was in Scranton today and gets to brag about Scranton, but Joe didn't spend all that much time in Scranton.
Jesus Christ. I did know the Colonel, that's right.
He left Scranton, and he lived in some other places, some very nice places, like one of the most affluent communities in America. We settled in Garden City. Yes, Garden City on Long Island, known as the Jewel of Long Island. Take a look at it. It has, I think, only 4 golf courses and 6 country clubs, something crazy like that. Joe lived there. And why was he there? Because his father, the guy Joe keeps telling us was like chronically unemployed. No,
he doesn't say that.
His father bought an airport. His father...
An airfield. There's a difference.
Bought a
big stretch of land.
Airport. Did your father buy an airport? Did mine? He also went, not to PS 92 or some public school, he went to Archmere Academy. Did you go to Archmere Academy?
I did not. I went to New Trier, which is a better school. It's a public school, but it's better. Just saying. Go Trevians.
I didn't go to Archmere Academy.
We can tell. we know, Greg. We know.
That's a fancy private school.
Yeah, it's very fancy. Don't let the fact that it looks like a haunted mansion in a M. Night Shyamalan movie put you off.
But it plays well in the sticks, Joe thinks, right? That he's some sort of hard scrabble guy. Joe also, when he was growing up, received a new car every single year during high school. I shared a used car.
And riding around the Chevy that Joe Sr. gave him for a present, Joe told his pals he always had a new car in high school, brand new Chrysler 300 whenever he had a date or something. You know, his dad ran the dealership. Right. He didn't get to keep it, you dumb motherfucker. He drove the loaners. He drove the loaners.
With a friend. Listen to this. Riding around in the Chevy that Joe Sr. gave him for a present, Joe told his pals he always had a new car in high school. Brand new Chrysler 300. Whenever he had a...
Yes, it wasn't his. He drove the loaner.
A date or something. You know, his dad ran the dealership, the largest dealership in all of Delaware. Joe was so down on his...
Really? The largest Chrysler dealership in all of Delaware? Thank God Chrysler didn't have any rough times at any point.
Luck, and so was the old man that gifted his son a Corvette. That was a fancy car in the 1960s.
It still is, you dumb motherfucker, and he still got it. I mean, say what you will, but he took care of the fucking thing. It was a gift from his father. He's the original owner. He still has it, you dumb son of a bitch. He's the... Holy shit. I mean, that's qualifications for being able to handle some shit in general, like as far as trustworthiness. This is... He got that car when he was in, like, college, I believe, and he kept it. And he kept it nice. He didn't go, it's a gift from my dad. I fucking got up on blocks or whatever. I went with a Taurus because that was the hip thing.
It still is today. And Joe...
Right, yes, because he kept it that way. It was his only car. He took the train to work, you dipshit.
Joe has that car. All right. It's...
Right. Hey, you know what, Greg? Let me run this story by you. He used to have 2 cars, except his wife and his daughter died in it. Yeah, the second car. The other car they had, his sons were almost killed in it. His wife and daughter died in it. It's one of the other reasons why he took the fucking train. Because he didn't want to die in a fucking car accident and leave his kids without a parent at all. Jesus Christ.
Mythology con job that Joe grew up down on his luck. All right, back to the trial today, if we don't mind.
What you want to talk about a con job? Tell me what work Donald Trump has ever done. Tell you what, my dad's an architect. I know my way around a blueprint. I would love to stand there next to Donald Trump with a set of blueprints. Fuck, bring in Don Jr. and Eric to help him. And I would like them to explain to me a particular property, anyone, just random, one of their own. I'm not even talking about like bringing in some blueprints or something and having them explain where the support beams are, how it's going to be constructed, the order of construction that'll go in. I mean, they should know foundation to roof. It'll figure that shit out. But I would love to sit there and watch them go through it and explain to me why elements of it are crucial. Show me which walls are loading and which walls aren't. Just that simple. Yeah.
What was the big scandal so far? Did Donald Trump nod off for a moment? Good for him. These things are boring.
At least they're not doubting it. I mean, they've just given up on fighting it. Like, it was reported by so many everybody saw it. The only thing they're hoping for is that they're just so lucky Trump didn't demand cameras in the courtroom.
It was extremely routine and boring, so much so that, it's been reported that the former president fell asleep in court.
It looked like Donald Trump nodded off. His head was nodding, the jaw a little bit slack there.
Without knowing his REM state, he was seen with his eyes closed for significant periods of time, minutes at a time.
People do that in court. People do that when they're waiting at the DMV. That's
They do? Did they do it on the bus, Greg? Huh? Do they do it right away? Do they do it how about this? Do they do it at the DMV if their life is on the line? Let me give you an example. You got one situation where you're in court and your freedom is on the line and they're choosing who will judge you. Kind of a circumstance in life that might perk you the fuck up. In the same way, you're standing in line at the DMV, and there's other people there who just have to get their tags, and they have to get their driver's license, but you have to catch a flight, and the new Real ID things are going into effect, and you have to have your Real ID, or you won't be able to fly home to see your family for the holidays or whatever, and and there's 9 people in line ahead of you, and you're trying to judge whether the 9 people in front of you will get through their shit right away, or if they will drag and fuck up the whole situation, and you're going to be stuck, right? That kind of perks you up, right? Now, if you're just there getting your tags and you doze off, just in this analogy, Donald Trump would nod off at the DMV during his driver's test while he was at the wheel.
Okay. I will say they didn't say it critically. It was just matter of fact.
Yeah. Yeah, they are all very understanding. Yeah.
But it did get more attention than when Joe Biden nodded off at the G7 in front of world leaders. He falls asleep at a very serious symposium about global warming, and that gets a pass somehow.
Yeah, he didn't, dude, eyes closed, say what you will. But did he slump? Did he fall over? Did his jaw go slack? Was he drooling? For this to be the equivalent, this motherfucker would have to come up to tap him on the shoulder and he doesn't react because they slid Trump notes and they sat in front of him for fucking minutes before he responded. Yeah.
All right. What else happened?
So Biden was not sleeping
today. Judge Merchan is the totally conflicted partisan judge.
Gee, Greg, it almost sounds like you're getting your talking points from Trump himself.
No excuse in the world for this guy to not recuse himself at the.
Sure there is. He's not even judging it. And if he slants it in either way, if he does anything that it makes it look like he's primarily biased against them, that would give Trump reason to be able to make an appeal. Honest to God, the only problem that Trump might have with Merchan, being on the lookout for anything that he might do that could be read as biased in any way that would allow for an appeal, that he might be almost too giving in a situation, allow, too much leeway. Not going to happen. But then that's the fears that you try to do an appeal after you lose, and he will, and they go, dude, this guy bent over backwards for you.
Situation with his daughter and his own political contributions.
Yeah, so Eileen Cannon should recuse herself then, because she was literally given her career that she did not earn by Donald Trump.
He doesn't like people talking in his courtroom. I don't like the way he talked to President Trump.
Who gives a
Listen
shit?
to this. He warns Trump's lawyer, your client was uttering something in the direction of the juror. I won't tolerate that.
Right. Why should he? You think, oh God, sorry, 1 second. Folks, I should have put something up earlier. That's rough. Woo. Do you think that yeah, do you think Greg would be okay if this judge said that to, I don't know, say a black person in the court? Just say it. Would he be automatically upset? Just he doesn't like the tone, the way he talks to defendants.
Okay. What next? I will not have any jurors intimidated in this courtroom. I want to make that crystal clear. Take a minute with your client. Intimidated how? He was talking to the lawyer sitting next to him.
No, he was speaking audibly so the juror could hear him. This would apply to everybody. Sorry, Carl. Yes, that warning should be automatic. I got to set it up so AI does it immediately the first time Trump appears.
They're enjoying it, right? I mean, this may blow up, so they got to take.
Well, if he's enjoying it, here's a good idea. Maybe Trump should keep his fucking mouth shut and behave himself in court so it doesn't happen. Don't give the fucker the satisfaction.
They got to take a little pleasure in this from time to time.
Yeah, I mean, you take life's little joys as you go. Yeah.
Going forward, I don't think we should do this anymore. Do you?
All rise. Superior Court of Fulton County, Atlanta Judicial Circuit is now in session. The Honorable Judge Scott McAfee is presiding. Court will now come to order.
Thank you all. Please be seated.
Why do we stand up when the judge walks in the room? I don't stand up when the congressman walks in the room.
Because it's a respect for the process, you dumb motherfucker. You're not pledging allegiance to the dude. It's because the judge has the authority to act on behalf of the judicial system on any person in there. He could, if the bailiff threw a punch they weren't supposed to throw, he could throw the fucker out and throw him in jail. He can throw any of the attorneys in jail if they break the law. He can sentence. He can move past right to the sentencing phase if the defendant does something criminal right there in the space. He can make everybody leave. He could empty the courtroom. That's why. It's respect for the process.
I mean, what's so special about judges?
Fuck you.
Judicial branch, the executive branch, the congressional branch, it doesn't make any sense. And
right. So why do we salute soldiers? I mean, I thank soldiers for their service, but I don't know what they did, right, Greg? I don't know what part of maybe what they do doesn't really apply to saving my life as an American. Maybe they work in the motor pool. I don't know. Like, fuck off.
This Judge Mershon has disgraced himself and the judiciary and the whole.
I'm sorry, he's disgraced himself and who? 1 second.
Sense. And this Judge Mershon has disgraced himself and the judiciary.
And the judiciary.
The whole damn system. Judge Mershon, you did this, okay? Thank God for Elon Musk.
Why? Also, that's not Judge Mershon, That's just a court. That's just court footage.
Elon Musk is a great guy. The richest.
No, he's really not.
Richest man in the world.
No, technically Vladimir Putin is richer, but you just can't verify it.
Happens to be a civil libertarian. He doesn't like any of
He's not a civil libertarian.
This, and he's not afraid to say it. I guess it's not.
It's his site. What are you talking about?
That hard.
What's he afraid? He's going to get kicked off the site he owns? I got news for you, fuckwad. It's a private company. The terms of service don't apply to Elon Musk.
For him, he's the richest man in the world, but the case is obviously
because of government contracts.
A corruption of
because of government contracts.
The law.
Because of government contracts.
Fair. And you know who noticed? President Trump. President Trump retruthed it, and I think that's great.
Yeah, he took that, like a picture of that, and he posted it on his thing. You know how big Twitter is, and Elon Musk is like super rich, and he's got this great site called Twitter, and Trump has this kind of like mini shitty Eddie Haskell version of Twitter. He took a picture of it, screen grab. Somebody gave it to him, and he posted it on his thing. Or somebody did for him.
So here we are, one of the most popular people in American history.
Here we are.
Is locked up in court for the next 6 to 8 weeks.
No, he can come and go. He can go out at night. I mean, I don't know what the fuck the guy. Why would he be tired? He could catch some Z's in the courtroom and then go have a rally.
Didn't the current president say he would do everything he could to bring this country together? This is one of the most divisive.
Right, but that doesn't mean letting people get away with crimes, letting the other party's head get away with being a criminal. What is that? What?
Things that could ever happen to a country. What about this solemn promise?
Today, on this January day, my whole soul is in this, bringing America together, uniting our people, uniting our nation.
Big words, huh?
Yeah, that's why, like, the infrastructure bill, not only was it applied equally across the entire country, but there were special dispensations in it for rural broadband because big cities don't have that problem. They have plenty of tax dollars, but red states who live off the tit of the blue states don't have the funding that they could to put in the internet, and so they added that as a special thing. They also, in states, a lot of them rural red states can't afford to take the lead pipes out of the ground and replace them with safer plumbing. There's more money going into them than other places. Also, when getting them to reshore factories, not just putting them in purple states where he thinks he can win the votes and tip stuff in a direction like Trump tried to do with the fucking shipyards in Wisconsin, but doing them everywhere, regardless, wherever it's best for the people and the economy, and whatever the environment around it is more conducive to the actual factory that they're building or the materials they'll need.
What did he say? What does that mean? Maybe he has no soul.
Yeah, maybe that's it. Yeah, and it's thank you, Greg, for saying the most Christian thing one person can say about another. I think really.
Whole soul was in it. He hasn't lifted a finger to unite this country.
Yeah, he has. Like I said, I mean, literally building bridges and repairing bridges when they get knocked over. You see what I mean?
It really does. I wonder, does this man have a soul?
Well, tell you what, Greg, I don't wonder if you have a soul. I do not. I think that is beyond human understanding, and I think it is particularly pernicious as an idea and gross to venture there. However, I have serious questions about whether or not you have a brain, or indeed, if you have one, if it is smooth like an edamame.
You know, if he really cared about democracy and all these judges and prosecutors, maybe they'd make an appointment to see Chuck Schumer. This is a man who's violated federal law, and he did it with
Oh, is this the reap the whirlwind? Yeah, he means the power of women voters, but try
a
harder.
million witnesses.
Right, because he knew he wasn't saying anything.
I want to tell you, Gorsuch, I want to tell you, Kavanaugh, you have released the whirlwind, and you will pay the price.
Yeah, politically. It's an analogy, Greg.
You won't know what hit you.
That's threatening. That's a
Chicks. Greg, he's talking about chicks, so I can understand why you're scared.
Against the law, and of course, some maniac showed up at Judge Kavanaugh's house with a bag full of guns, but he's a Democrat. He gets immunity. It's wrong.
He gets immunity? For what? Having a bag full of guns? What the ever-loving shit are you talking about?
Everybody knows it. Even they know it.
Maybe they don't.
What's going to happen? I don't
know. We don't see your whole soul in this, Joe. I don't know. I don't like it, whatever it is, and it seems to be working, but what are you going to...
know, but I sense it's going to be glorious. I'll be right back.
No, you won't. No, you won't. Goodbye, Craig. Oof. Now, I've got to hurry because I got so much stuff to cover. Trump went to a bodega because it was a bodega. I think it's the one where the guy was attacked and then he either injured or killed his attacker, and they were possibly going to press charges, and then they ultimately didn't, and it was resolved like 2 fucking years ago. But Trump went down there, and this is him at that place.
Well, the trial is moving along. We have a judge who's absolutely out of place. He should not be allowed to do it.
He's a judge that's absolutely out of place.
We have a judge who's absolutely out of place. He should not.
Oh yeah, and by the way, yes, this was staged just like the black lady activist who was at the Chick-fil-A. I don't know, out of place. You're sure he's not out of touch and out of time?
Be allowed to do it. He's conflicted like nobody's ever been conflicted.
I don't think okay, he's got conflicts like nobody's ever had conflicts, maybe, if that's what you're trying to say, but he's not conflicted. What if he's conflicted, then you don't have to worry about him being impartial. If he's conflicted, like I fucking hate this guy, but I got to do my job. That's conflicted.
This is a very exciting time for me because the bodegas, the association invited me, and I respect them. And
they invited you?
The bodegas, the association invited me.
They invited him. That's a B, right? Watch his face.
This is a very exciting time for me because the bodegas, the association invited me.
Invited me, sure.
And I respect them and they respect me.
Even though I would never set foot in one of these fucking places.
They want law and order. They have a lot of crime, tremendous crime, where their stores are being robbed.
Yeah, I know. This guy's would be robbed right now if there weren't Secret Service all over the place. It's just sad.
And as you know,
and luckily, no one ever stole from a bodega during Trump's term, especially in the summer of 2020.
We're going to give New York a very good shot for the presidency. We think we should be able to do it.
Really? So New York for president? The whole city? They're going to be exhausted.
A lot of things.
It's the city that never sleeps. I just think their decision making will be bad.
Things have changed. Lee Zeldin did a beautiful job. He ran. He lost by a little bit.
A lot of it.
And New York's a lot different. And we'll work with the mayor, and we'll work with the governor, and we'll bring in a lot of federal money. But we have to straighten out New
York. We'll work with the governor and the mayor, but we'll bring in a lot of federal money. Is this just a vote buying attempt? Is that what we're talking about?
And that includes crime. And these guys have great people, great friends, but they have tremendous crime. So we got to straighten it out.
That more than 50% of people actually believe, or a majority believe, that the judge and the jury are going to have some kind of bias against you.
Yeah, no, they believe. I heard 78% think it's a rigged deal.
No. 78% of what? Republicans?
It is a rigged deal. It's a rigged trial.
Was it written rigged deal? Was there a checkbox next to rigged deal, totally slanted, bunch of bullshit, maybe okay?
Courts, everything.
I heard 78%. Yeah, from your own fucking mouth.
Is screwed up in New York, and the whole world is watching. This judge is so conflicted. You understand that. You'll take.
No, we don't. He's got so many conflicts. He's not, again, conflicted. That's not the word for it.
Look at that. There's never been a judge so conflicted as this.
I don't know why. Maybe he just can't get the word out.
It's ridiculous.
Is this like another Oranges moment where he's got so many conflicts, but Trump can't say so many conflicts, so he's just saying.
I hope they now go and take a look at the oranges.
You know what I mean?
The Mueller report, I wish, covered the oranges.
Right. Just the words.
And also, there's no crime. You know where the crime is? In the bodegas, where they come and rob them every week, or more than that.
Do you think the juror in your mind is an ideal juror?
Anybody that's fair.
Do you believe the juror seated today?
I'll let you know after the trial, depending on that. Because don't forget, we're appealing.
Yes,
there shouldn't be a judge. If you
we're appealing, there shouldn't be a judge, is what he said. What he means is there shouldn't be a trial, or at least he's going in that direction. But what he almost said there was there shouldn't be a judge.
The trial, depending on that. Because don't forget, we're appealing. There shouldn't be a judge. If you look and you
yeah. Also, we're appealing a guy.
Do you believe the juror seated today?
I'll let you know after the trial, depending on that. Because
pretending go where?
Don't forget, we're appealing. There shouldn't be a judge. If you look and you take a look around, a good strong look, every legal scholar, every legal pundit.
No, not even close.
Said there should be no trial.
No, there's no situation where every legal pundit, every legal scholar said this. It's just absurd.
There was nothing done wrong.
There was nothing done wrong. Oh, so it was done right. You crimed in a very successful way, you think?
This is all politics. This is coming out of the White House. And, it makes me campaign locally, and that's okay.
It makes me campaign locally, and that's okay. Right, yes, you contrive these kind of events, and they bring a group of people that supports you down there to make you feel like you're winning, so you don't get all mad and treat everybody on your staff like shit.
I don't think so. There we go. You know what? I don't think so. I think we're doing better, Brian. We're doing better now than we've ever done. So I think.
No, actually not. You're actually now underwater in the polls by more than the margin of error. It's bad.
It's having a reverse effect. You know what? All I want is fairness. And these people have to be treated better. The Bodega Association, bodegas, because every week they're being robbed 2-3 times. It's crazy. It's crazy. And you know what? The police can do it. They can stop it. But they have to be allowed to do their job.
So they're just not? They're not allowed to investigate robberies in New York? They're not allowed to stop it. Which is, for the record, bullshit.
To address the inner cities of America and give them hope to restore the American dream. Atlanta, New York, Philly, Chicago, D.C.
We're going to come in, and number one, you have to stop crime. And we're going to let the police do their job. They have to be given back their authority. They have to be able to do their job. And we're going to come into New York.
Right, but their job doesn't include beating the shit out of people who aren't guilty or denying people their rights. That isn't part of the job. By the way, it's what makes the job difficult and honorable is because they have to do something very difficult with standards as opposed to just having like groups of thugs roaming around.
Making a big play for New York. Other cities too, but this city. No. I love this city.
You're not coming back. Yeah, good, nope.
And it's gone so bad in the last 3 years, 4 years.
Oh, you don't have to tell me. There's assholes in large groups walking around yelling 4 more years at some fake blonde asshole.
And we're going to straighten New York out. So, running for president, we're putting a big hit on New York.
We're putting a big hit on New York. I'm just saying in New York, that language might be heard a different way. You know what I'm saying? We're putting a big hit on New York. The whole city, boss? The whole fucking city.
We can win New York with 500,000 migrants that poured in and take over the parks. They took over your hotels. They take over everything.
Everything, yeah. I know. Like you might listen to the accents around, like the guy from the Bodega Association next to me. Do you hear him talk? Jesus.
So good. And you know what they've done? They've destroyed so many people. The African American community now is not getting jobs. Migrants are taking their jobs that are here illegally.
Well, then commit to passing a law that would put people in jail for hiring people illegally. That'd be easy. Oh, but you'd have to go to jail yourself because of Mar-a-Lago, right?
Hispanics are not.
And Bedminster.
Not getting jobs.
And your LA club.
Migrants are taking.
And your northern property.
Taking the job.
And anywhere you have cleaning crews.
You look at the unemployment is good for migrants now.
Well, I mean, we got we've got more open jobs than we have people without work.
Went up 10%, all migrants, and they're in our country. Now they're coming from prisons.
It went up 10%, all migrants. He means the jobs added were all migrants or whatever. No, those aren't listed because it would be illegal.
I don't know if you know. They come.
And if they do get like a work visa, then they've got an asylum claim. They're not here illegally. More evidence that they deserve to be here and will probably be here for a short time and then go back home.
From mental institutions, they come from prisons.
And yet they can do your job.
They come from...
Imagine what he thinks about black people. That he's like, that we've got crazy people coming up here and the Democrats give them the jobs that black people do because they'll work cheaper, even though they're insane. This is so fucking stupid.
Places you don't want to know about.
I do want to know it. Tell me about them. Like, name one. Just give me the name of one.
They're coming from jails and prisons.
You already said that part. Yeah.
Mental institutions and insane asylums. And you have massive numbers of terrorists coming into our country, all because of Biden.
And all of them are working. All of them are getting jobs that black Americans should be getting because black people are being muscled out of the terrorism jobs.
And by the way, this trial that I have now, that's a Biden trial. They want to keep me off the campaign trail. But based on what I'm doing, I think there's more press here than there is if I went out to some nice location.
So, you're saying this is not a nice location? I'm just saying, if you want to make way with the local community and the bodega guys, maybe don't call their part of town a shithole right in front of them. You know, it's a little RFK Jr. I'm just saying. I'm doing better campaigning here than in a nice location or surrounded by good people who have money. Jesus Christ.
I like the police have to be able to do their job. The police in New York are great. They have to be able to do their job. They have to protect these people. Because I just met, look at this young man, and he's got a son who looks like he's a movie star. He's much better looking than the father, and the father looks good. And you know what? He says he's robbed all the time. I said, how you doing? He said, well, we're robbed all the time. Look.
Okay, kids coming in and sneaking shit and running out is not being robbed. Robbed is being stuck up. There's a difference, and there's a specific aspect of that. And I don't doubt that it happens because it's fucking New York. I don't know. I've heard things about New York, and my entire life it's been about how tough New York is, and crime is a constant issue because of how many people are there. On top of that, though, he seems to be in a nice suit. He seems got some free time. Obviously, the shelves are stocked.
Beautiful place.
His ATM has plenty of cash in it, apparently, and gives out. And you can get $5 bills out of that ATM.
He's robbed all the time. Nobody's ever seen it. It's Alvin Bragg's fault. Yeah. Alvin Bragg does nothing. He goes after guys like Trump, who did nothing wrong. Violent criminals, murderers. They know there are hundreds of murderers all over the city. They know who they are. They don't pick them up.
Yeah, it doesn't work that way.
They go after Trump.
That's right, because they're like, if we get him, it's like 10 murderers. It's kind of like Monopoly for murder.
Say it, what?
Mr. President, how do you feel about the 7 jurors that were selected today?
I'll let you know in about 2 months.
Mr. Trump, would you push an immigration reform for those good immigrants who doesn't have papers right now, but they have been working hard?
Look, right now is we have to get the criminals, because many of the people coming into our country are criminals and mental patients. We have to get them out. They're going to bring them back. We're going to have the largest deportation in the history of our country.
Which would require a papers, please law. You would have to ask anybody who you don't, I guess, regard automatically as a citizen who has an accent of any sort or looks like they're not from here, if you know what I mean, to see some proof of citizenship, right? How do you broom people out of a country without asking them for proof of citizenship on site? What do you do? Drive around in fucking vans? And anybody who, you know, it just looks sketchy, if they don't have their passport on them or a birth certificate with them, you just, like, driver's license, fucking people, illegal immigrants get driver's licenses in some place. You got to get the fuck out.
And you know who needs that? New York. And again, remember, African American, Hispanic American, Asian American, they're all losing. Unions are losing.
Again, why not pass a law that makes, that has high penalties for people who hire people without proof of citizenship or without legal right to work? Because you'd have to throw the entire HR team at Mar-a-Lago and Bedminster in jail immediately.
We're going to be talking.
What is he doing here because he doesn't like the community, the Latino community, the Latino immigrants?
Me?
What would you say to
Oh,
them?
I love them, and they love me. Did you see my numbers? My numbers are the highest numbers in the history of the Republican Party.
Yeah, but that's, we're in world's tallest midget territory.
With the Latinos, with the
Immigrants.
Did you know that? Yeah.
With the Latinos and the whatever they're called.
And frankly, the immigrants, the illegal immigrants, we're going to have to do something because no country can sustain it. Remember, they're emptying out their prisons and they're emptying out their mental institutions into our...
By the way, even though he's surrounded with people yelling USA and 4 more years, whatever, you can hear people in the background actually, they figured out that he's there and they're starting to yell, but they're being kept back, unlike the people who support him who are allowed up because they've already been vetted and they're basically campaign staff.
Country. These are prisoners and people from mental institutions, largely that are coming in.
Get me out of here. Yeah, so they've set up this little gathering for him. Yeah, so it's basically one of these situations where they, where Kim Jong-un and Kim Jong-il had people they'd line up pretty girls to wave at him like they're attracted so that he would feel good about himself. That's this. Is it the, Hello. I don't know why this ends up going. They're coming from insane asylums and jails and prisons and mental institutions and also jails where they keep crazy.
I think what's going to happen is we're going to end up doing so well. We're way ahead in the polls against Biden. Biden has destroyed our country. Look.
I don't know. I mean, look at the people behind you. I mean, they're alive. I mean, you got to say that.
Biden is the worst president in the history of our country. Worse than Jimmy Carter by a long shot. Jimmy Carter's happy because he's had a brilliant presidency compared.
Notice he doesn't go after Nixon.
To Biden, he's destroyed.
He's just shitting on a good man. That's his. It's his Republic. It's Team D, Team R idea.
Destroyed our country between the borders and everything else. He has destroyed our country. Not only that, wars are breaking out all over the world. We'll end up with this foolish person that doesn't have. We're going to end up in a World War III. So we have to get rid of Biden. We're going to make a heavy play for New York. That's why I'm here.
Yeah, no, you're here because you have court, and they set up this little thing for you because you were going to run on an anti-crime thing for the rest of the country. But the problem is, you're standing out in front of a place that was open. There's a kid right there. The place works. It's open. As soon as he leaves, there'll still be people buying shit. There's police around on their own, much less the ones that are with you. They've set up barricades because they knew you were coming.
And we have tremendous respect.
Does anybody actually think this fucking place just has barricades just in case this asshole shows up?
Hispanic support. The Hispanics are supporting me at a level that nobody's ever seen before. We're going to make a heavy play for New York. Also, African-American support. No Republican has ever had the African-American support that I have. So we're going to make a heavy play for New York. We'll work with the Democrat mayor. We'll work with the Democrat governor. And we're going to get the state fixed up.
We'll work with them, and I'll only give them federal aid if they get my charges against me on the state level expunged after I'm found guilty in both of the trials here.
Ryan, go ahead.
Used to be the city that...
Oh, it's Brian from RSB.
Never slept. Now these diners can't stay open at 2 a.m. in the morning.
Now it's the city that always sleeps, yeah. We'll get
Now it's the city that always sleeps. Hey, asshole, just because you're falling asleep in court doesn't mean everybody else is. Does this asshole think that when he closes his eyes, everybody else goes to sleep?
it straightened out. We're going to work with the mayor.
It's a city that always sleeps. Like anytime, sometimes I'll close my eyes and I will hear snoring and I'll wake up with drool on my tie and I'm like, oh my God, is the whole world asleep? Jesus.
We're going to work with the governor. Democrats. I'll work with Democrats. We have to straighten out New York. New York, if it goes any further out, it'll never come back.
Yeah, any further than this. Obviously, it's hell, but if it's like hell plus.
President, you believe you violated the gag order?
What?
Do you believe you violated the gag order?
No, I didn't. There shouldn't be a gag order. Let me just tell you. The gag order is totally unconstitutional.
No, it isn't. People get them all the time.
The judge should not be there. The judge is highly conflicted. He should not be there.
Again, with the conflicted. He has conflicts. That's what you're trying to say. He's not conflicted. He's not in a philosophical dilemma, you dipshit.
You're in Harlem, you're in a different neighborhood, a lot of people make
I think we're going to connect. I think we're connecting.
I think we're connecting because I'm in Harlem. It's my first time here, and it's really crazy.
Already. And I was invited here by the Bodega Association.
Uh-huh. Yeah, because I wouldn't have come here on my own. Are you nuts?
And
they set this up. They were like, want to come by a bodega and we'll show you some stuff? And you're like, absolutely. I'll talk about crime. And they're like, it's in Harlem. Can you move it? It's too late, isn't it? Shit. Okay, well, I don't have to. We're going to need extra Secret Service.
They're being treated very badly between all the robbed. They're getting robbed 2-3 times a week, the stores. I think we're doing very well.
These neighborhoods, do you think people see?
By the way, they're yelling Trump over it because there are other protesters just past them who are yelling shit and they're trying to cover it. But they're ultimately just yelling over him being in.
Look, the migrants have taken over New York. You have 500,000 illegal migrants in New York.
No, you don't. There might be some who are there illegally. I have no doubt. I'm sure lots of them work in Trump Tower and your other properties, but there are a bunch of people there who are asylum seekers who've been granted asylum and they are there. They transition through Roosevelt Island or whatever and into, other areas or other states and that kind of stuff while they're awaiting their asylum, court case.
The people of New York are not going to take it. That's why they're going to vote for Trump. Thank you.
Yeah. What do you think this place is? The kind of place that put a giant statue just off the coast of the place, welcoming fucking migrants? What are you, nuts? Bye. This is the longest I've ever been at a convenience store, and the fact that I have to even come down here is proof I'm in deep shit. Remember, he didn't do the retail politics the first time around, and he didn't do them really in 2020 until the very end because he just didn't get it. He didn't think he was underwater until it was too late. Now he's aware. And this is what you're seeing here is a man whose internal polls look like shit.
What do you think of the jurors? What do you think of the jurors that you saw today? The jurors.
Oh, I don't know. It's a little bit early to see. We'll see what happens. But the judge is totally conflicted. He should recuse himself. He is so conflicted. There's never been anybody conflicted like this guy.
Stop saying conflicted. He's not conflicted. He's not confused about what he's supposed to do. He's got conflicts of interest. You could say that he is biased or something like that because it's obvious he has these, but conflicted is fucking flicted.
You know what? All of that stuff is on appeal right now. It's all on appeal. And if the laws are right, the whole world is watching this New York legal system. This is all election interference at the highest level.
It is a election interference.
It all comes out of Washington because they're losing badly. You know they're losing very badly. You do know that. They're losing badly in the polls. And I think you're going to see some numbers coming out now even higher. People don't like the persecution. They don't.
I don't know, they're singing the Star Spangled Banner.
Like what's going on. They don't like these fake prosecutors.
If you have fake I guess you'll win the appeal then. I don't even know what you're worried about. Do you think he would go a lot further if he just acted like he didn't sweat it? He's like, look, I can do this and still win the election. Like if he eased into it, but the fact that he's raging and freaking out, he knows this is devastating.
Arranged Jack Smith, the whole group of them, and I think you're going to see some big changes being made. You know what we're going to be doing, right? We're going to be saving America. Our country is under siege.
It totally is under siege.
And take a look at Israel. Israel, all of a sudden, it doesn't feel protected.
Israel all of a sudden doesn't feel protected. We just protected it, you dumb son of a bitch.
It has Biden. He doesn't know where he is. It's a real mess.
Well, I think it might be because he's dealing with so many things at once, and well, it doesn't really matter. Where the fuck? Where are we? Scranton, where are we? We're going. Okay, we're flying Chicago tomorrow, and then we're headed. Okay, cool. All right, wake me up when we land. Okay.
How sure are you going to protect Speaker Johnson?
Well, we'll see what happens with that. I think he's a very good
Did he
person.
brief you on his plan?
He thinks I'm a great person.
For separate attorneys.
Good luck. Good luck. Good job you're doing. Good. Thank you. Very nice.
Did you hear? It's like she goes. Did he brief you on his plans, meaning the bills that are going forward, which is what I tell you earlier. That picture of him together, they're never going to live it down. It looks like he gave him the okay to pass these bills. He probably gave him the okay for the border bill as well.
Wow, what a moment, series of moments, and there
you get this with this coupon.
He is posing with the folks who run the bodega, apparently. He was talking about the family that's being robbed several times a week. Think about how raw, how honest this.
So go in on community and we something, the community and NYPD.
This moment is, as you let it breathe.
Yeah, that's what you do. Just let it breathe, you know. Something that's impossible when you're indoors around Trump. Chat room, how you doing? All right, so real quick, got to jump right into the next one. There's so little of they keep trying to like hide. They don't want to talk about this. Only Greg Kelly really is the one who wants to talk about the merits of the case at all because everybody else knows it's shit. So let me introduce you to this young fella. Oh shit! Sorry, my bad. This I should have even given you. Hit the like while I find. Yeah, here it is. Sorry about that, everybody. I should have. You're watching Hal Sparks Mega Worldwide. Like, subscribe, give a thumbs up, support the show. Infotainmentwars.com. Join the Facebook page. Join the Patreon. Help us out. Meanwhile, or I will remove this, and you will have to stare into the nunt. All right, here we go. So, this is his statement. Crooked Joe Biden and his entire corrupt party are staging a show trial of their leading rival something, something, something. Like, he couldn't even fit it. And even his titles are rambly now. So here we go. This is a video on his site. It's a full 5 minutes. Look out.
Our nation is right now crossing a very dangerous threshold in the middle of a...
Why is it quiet? What's wrong with you? What the fuck is wrong? All right, hold on. I'm going to back up. I'm going to try and find, let's see. Copy that and see if I can go. Maybe it's on YouTube. Let's see. Yeah, let's see. Trump. Sorry. Quit it. Yeah, here we go.
Our nation is right now...
There you go. Hold on. This is, here we go. Now I got it. This is the YouTube
crossing
version.
A very dangerous
threshold. It totally has. The threshold has been crossed. You know, the thing I never carried my wife across is because I can't, and B, they should walk because your woman's supposed to walk, on her own and 8 feet behind you. So how can you carry them if they're supposed to walk 8 feet behind you? Also,
our nation is right now crossing a very dangerous threshold.
It's such a threshold. These are the kind of thresholds. They're very dangerous. They're the kind of, it is such a threshold.
In the middle of a presidential election, right smack in the middle.
Right smack in the middle.
Crooked Joe Biden and his entire corrupt party are staging a show trial of their leading political opponent, me.
Oh, okay. I thought you were talking about somebody else. Also, you couldn't say that sentence in one run. You couldn't say Crooked Joe Biden and his entire corrupt party are staging a show trial of their leading rival, me.
They want me to go on trial.
You are on trial. You've been on trial twice already. You're on trial now, and you will be on trial again. What are you talking about?
It's totally crooked. It's totally corrupt. It's never been done before.
Well, we've never had a crook like you in charge of things. Also, it's also crooked and crimey and corrupt and whatever.
In a completely illegitimate act of election interference, they're trying to jail their opposition as if they were Stalinist Russian or communist Chinese or Castro's Cuba or socialist Venezuela.
Yeah, if they were any of those things, you wouldn't even get a trial, dummy. You think you'd be making videos like this? What are you talking about?
As you witness this Biden trial, I ask all Americans to remember that this is not just about me.
It's kind of just about you. Like he didn't fuck Stormy Daniels and try to hide it from Melania. I'm just saying.
This is about our country, and this is about you.
Right. You're the one who fucked Stormy Daniels. You're the one who has a tiny mushroom dick, America. You're not me. You don't have a flailing nunt that scares children under your neck that's horrifying to stare at. You do. You do. You, America. You're the one who stole the documents and had Walt move them around in your office. I'm only going to jail for you. Shame on you. This is why I never have to ask Jesus for forgiveness. You do.
Whether you're a Republican, Democrat, or independent,
or all of the above,
we should all be horrified by the corruption of the system of justice, what's taking place in our country.
Oh, you mean the fact that you're able to walk around, you didn't have to give up your passport or any of that shit, and you seem to just be able to skate past these things and bully people into giving you more room to move than other defendants would have in the same situation?
Country has never happened before.
Because we've never had a president like you do this before. And also, quite frankly, porn is relatively new.
They go after Biden's political opponent because he can't do it. He's weak.
Well, he is busy being president.
Ineffective. He's totally.
Well, if he's ineffective, why are you in court? If this is his thing, if he's doing this to you, then obviously he's effective. If you're going to make the case that he's ineffective, then you're in jail, or we'll be in jail, but you're in this trial because of your own stupidity and your own criminality. He can't be both. He can't be incompetent and the godfather at the same time. Meanwhile, you're the nodfather.
Out of it. He can't walk off a stage from a speech, and he can't put two sentences together.
Except to make fun of you, obviously.
So how do you do it? Go after his opponent.
Well, I mean, it does give him a lot of room to get on a lot more stages and put more than two sentences together.
This is Biden attacking democracy, a continuation of the greatest witch hunt of all time. From Russia.
Well, the witches of Salem would like a word. I mean, don't get me started on how they treat witches in Uganda right now. Like now.
Russia, you know how that ended.
Yeah, if you hadn't had Bill Barr in there, you would have been impeached a long time ago, and we wouldn't have to be dealing with any of this shit.
No problem. To Ukraine, impeachment hoax number 1, impeachment hoax number 2, and so many more.
Well, by the way, technically speaking, neither one of them are hoaxes, but also Ukraine was the impeachment, the first impeachment, and the second one was around January 6th, which I noticed you don't say like January 6th, January 6th, January 6th. Maybe you're just afraid to say it because it'll show up behind you like candy.
The same group of thugs and their fake news allies have been trying to lie, cheat, and steal their way back into power. They want to stay in power. They want to get back in power.
I got to say, projection.
The moment they lost in 2016, it all began.
And then they won in 2020 and it ended. Yeah, I guess, it's kind of even Steven.
They said, we're never going to let that happen again.
And they won in 2020, and that was that. And you're right.
And I'll tell you what,
What?
If we lose this election,
You're gonna lose. You're gonna lose this election.
may never have another election.
No, we'll have other elections. Yeah, that's the thing. Is that in this particular case, one of the things that Joe Biden does differ from you on is that Joe Biden likes the fact that George Washington refused the ability to be president forever and sort of be a monarchical force and step down. You're gonna lose, dude.
These are the Russia hoax people.
That's what I call them.
A hoax that never happened.
You're right. That was not a hoax. Well, look at that. A little bit of truth squeaks out.
A Russia investigation that was ridiculous and a waste of $100 million and much more than that.
It actually made money. The money seized from Manafort and others actually paid for it.
And now we have the same people, the same scum.
These scum, filth, pigs, scum, pig dogs.
That are weaponizing the entire justice system to persecute us on fake charges.
Us? Look, I've heard of the royal we, but there is no royal us, you dumb motherfucker. Unless you're going with they, them pronouns, shut the fuck up with the us. Just say you.
Even while Joe Biden is the most corrupt president in the history of our country, and he gets off scot-free with the documents. He gets off scot-free. There's nobody that ever...
Wait a minute. Did he pardon scot-free?
...took documents like his. Now, of course...
You mean not classified ones? You're talking about his senatorial papers?
Hillary Clinton did, if you remember, bust up all of her phones and...
Well, I will say that when you do something like that, the chances of the information on them falling into the wrong hands is very low. Wouldn't you say? Maybe, I don't know, how much trouble would you be in if you'd have just set fire to those boxes instead of rifling through them and trying to hide shit? I'm just saying, what would, if looking back, if you had an option to pour bleach over, or how about just kerosene, for fuck's sake, over these boxes and set them on fucking fire in the middle of, the patio outside of Mar-a-Lago, you'd be in a lot less shit right now.
Acid wash them.
Yeah, well, that was the style. I mean, they were classified mom jeans.
Because she didn't want to give anything
to our foreign adversaries. She wasn't going to sell our secrets the way you were.
After getting a subpoena from the United States Congress, but there's nobody.
You do realize that you can't bleach and destroy a phone and eliminate the records on them because there's actually a server that they link to.
Like Crooked Joe. Joe, what he's done with documents is ridiculous. And
yeah, sure. You went to Chinatown where China is.
Unlike me, totally protected by the Presidential Record Act.
Oh, it's a record act now. I didn't realize. Is it the LP or is it an EP or a 45?
If you look at the Presidential Records Act and read
okay, now it's plural.
Read it carefully. You'll see I'm totally protected.
I've read it. No, you're not. I don't even know where the fuck he gets that from.
He didn't come under the Presidential Records Act. What he did was terrible, and he got off scot-free.
Well, because he didn't actually do anything that violated the Presidential Records Act as a senator with his senatorial records.
The Biden crime family took millions of dollars of China, Ukraine, Russia, and other countries and sent it to dozens of shell companies that were paying at least 9 family members. Yet nothing happens to Crooked Joe.
Yeah, it might be that because the money was investment money in large part and it didn't go directly to them. Unlike you, where you took $15 million out of a Chinese bank account while you were president.
Nothing happens to Democrats. The reason the Biden regime...
Well, it's because we control everything. I mean, I say what you will, but we got the shit on lock, obviously. If you weren't such a fuck up and weren't so focused on golfing all the fucking time and didn't hire literally the worst people at their jobs, you might have control of big tech, big pharma, the military, the Illuminati, the banking system, the news media. You'd have, all the press being your stenographers and shit like that. But you're a fuck up. I don't know what to tell you. You're a complete fuck up. Apparently it's easy, because if Joe Biden's as incompetent as you say he is, and yet he was able to do it, what's your fucking excuse, other than lazy, I guess?
Is tearing down every law to try and stop me is because I am the one...
Well, you can't tear down all the... can't tear down all the laws and then use laws to get you thrown in jail. You need to leave those up, I would guess. You need at least campaign finance, hush money laws, classified documents laws. You got to leave those in place. Otherwise, what the fuck are we putting you in jail for? What are you breaking?
Fighting to defend you from their entire corrupt system.
Me? Fuck did I do?
Remember, I'm in the way. Without me, there's nobody in the way.
What? I got to tell you, this. Can you imagine like a baseball player saying they're only testing me for steroids because I'm in the way and they want to test you for steroids? Neck this fucking big, giant fucking arms and shoulders or whatever. I'm only in the way. They're taking samples of my blood for performance enhancing drugs, so that they don't have to test you, the fans. Now, we're pretty sure most of them aren't on steroids.
As these sick people have come after me, they're also coming after
Well, they're sick for a reason, because they're downwind of you and you smell.
you. They want to take away your freedom of speech and punish you and your thoughts and political beliefs. They want...
Yeah, no. Also, they're not punishing your political beliefs or your thoughts. They're punishing your financial crimes, I think.
Want to flood our country with millions and millions of migrants, which they're doing. Redistribute your money to illegal aliens.
Redistributing. Gone are the days we're going to redistribute it to minorities and gays and women in this country who don't deserve it. Now we bypass those folks entirely. They've got too much shit anyways. We're just going to dump it all on people who are only going to be here a week.
And then give them the right to vote. That's what they really want. With all these people pouring in, they want to get them the right to vote. They want...
Yeah, but again, a good portion of the South American ones are Catholic, a lot of them pro-life. Ultimately, they would be kind of like the Cubans that vote for Republicans. They'd be a little closer to that. So, yeah.
Want to ban gas-powered automobiles? Go...
Well, I mean, they stink and they're noisy and there's better technology.
Go to a ridiculous car that doesn't...
Yeah, they want to ban horses on the roads.
Doesn't go very far, doesn't go very long.
Look, we're talking about electric cars, not your penis. Simmer down.
And inflate away your wealth with
Inflate away your wealth.
Trillions and trillions of dollars given to their political cronies, which is what they're doing. They want to indoctrinate...
Huh? Wait, what? Hold on, back the fuck up. They want to...
Powered automobiles, go to a ridiculous car that doesn't go very far.
He's talking about the Cybertruck.
Doesn't go very long.
Like his penis.
And inflate away your wealth with trillions and trillions of dollars given to their political cronies, which is...
What do you mean? The pork barrel stuff that's going to red states?
Is what they're doing.
No, they aren't.
They want to indoctrinate your children in our schools and change this country into a nation you no longer even recognize. And
yes, it's full of, like, brown people and white people that like brown people. It's terrible. That's the thing, is that they'll never get enough brown people in here to upset that, the racial apple cart in the country. But then all these white people who don't mind black people, ugh, they're the worst. Am I right? They're kind of like the rhinos of white people. They're the winos. No, that doesn't sound right.
It's getting very close to that point.
It is. What that trip to the bodega in Harlem freaked you the fuck out?
They are attacking our democracy in all these ways in a desperate effort to cling to power.
A desperate effort to cling to power. By the way, why do I have to do this on one of those riding horses on a spring in front of an old soda fountain?
We are the ones standing in their way, and that is the way it's going to be. I will always be standing in their way.
You're just kind of always in the way of, like, women's rights, normalcy.
Biden's fake show trials, and every one of them is a Biden trial. They worked together with the Justice Department, with the attorneys at...
Yeah, I mean, again, if I believe what you're saying, it sounds like Biden's a fucking beast. It sounds like Biden's got his shit together. It sounds like he's not only dealing with Bibi Netanyahu and all this other stuff, things that are popping up in the world. He's getting funding through. He passed an infrastructure bill, which you couldn't do. He lowered the cost of insulin. He lowered the cost of prescription meds for people on Medicare and Medicaid, all that kind of stuff. He's doing that at the same time he was able to, like, concoct a giant scheme to make you commit brand new fucking crimes in the case of the classified document shit and get you on stuff on the state level. He can't be completely incompetent and this good at unless there's a possibility that he is the most incompetent president in the history of the United States, and you're still dumber than he is. That's the only thing that makes sense.
The DOJ, whether it's Fani or whether it's any of the others.
You can't remember their names right now? Like, I would kind of have them committed to memory if I was in your situation, man. I'd be able to prattle those fucking things off. But you know what? Don't waste the hard drive space.
They're all working with Washington and the DOJ because they're trying to get Biden elected because he can't put two sentences together.
Okay, you've said that multiple times. I'm just saying. You said that before. Do you know you've said that before?
Joe Biden and his thugs are doing everything they can to burn down our democracy.
Really? I just feel like they could do a lot more. I mean, we're still having elections. I mean, he allowed people to, he and the party allowed RFK and Marianne Williamson to run against him, right? They could have just called it and not had any kind of a primary. They could have, if they really wanted to destroy democracy, and they're doing everything they could, right? Wouldn't you?
You need to save American democracy.
I am. Thank you very much. You're watching Hal Sparks Mega Worldwide. Like, subscribe, give a thumbs up, support the show, because sometimes I feel like I'm doing it, all by myself, So it's sort of key and crucial. Hold on, I'm going to try to. Which one of these? They're all going to play at once, aren't they? There you go.
You're watching Hal Sparks Mega Worldwide, and we're glad you're along for the ride. Every day Hal is here by your side, so please would you like and subscribe? Oh, beware of the kidney. Oh, beware of the kidney. You are watching Hal Sparks Mega Worldwide, and we're glad you're along for the ride. Every day Hal is here by your side.
Goddamn right.
Please would you like and subscribe?
Thank you. So
Vote Trump.
No, I'm not gonna do that. I'll listen to the rest of your bullshit, but there's no way that's ever happening. Why would I vote for an unrepentant pussy grabber? As someone who admittedly is way over quota in the amount of sex I've had in my life, I have many times screwed above my station in life, which for him is always, but I'm aware of it at least. And even when I don't think that's the case, you treat everybody, with respect and adoration, and whatever they, whatever their flavor is, whatever they might want, you do everything you can to make the entire evening a pleasurable experience for everyone. And of course, you get, you don't just get consent, okay? You don't do that. Consent is not enough for me, I'll tell you this right now. Consent is what punks get, street kids, this is bullshit. Say, yes, okay, we'll do this. No. She's got to be begging for it, or it's not happening, okay? Let me tell you something. I got to tell you, I'll get consent, but that doesn't mean we're doing it, okay? Just because you said it's okay, doesn't mean it's going to happen, okay? I can wait, okay? Some of us are doing just fine. I can hang out, You got to say please. That's why they call it the magic word, because it makes the magic happen. That's what I'm telling you right now. So, let me tell you, yes. I don't use the French tickler because I feel like tickling is the wrong sensation for the whole thing. It's a long, well, I'll draw you, someday if I meet you in person, I will draw you a diagram with crayons, because it should be in color. It should, I believe. Yes, I'm Francois Lafranc. Bonsoir.
If you look at the upcoming calendar, you're going to see.
Uh-huh. Please, God, don't have him put out a calendar of himself.
See a date, November 5th. November 5th.
Yes, yes. In the upcoming calendar, there will be a November 5th. Yeah, that's true. The dates of this year and next year and the year after that will continue. There will be. We're not going to erase the 5th. We're not going to go straight from the 4th to the 6th anytime soon.
Will become the most important day in the history of our country. We will make America great again.
Right, by getting rid of you finally, where you're no longer a part of the political conversation, where you lose badly twice in a row and you're clearly too old and doddering to run again, and everybody's like, okay, well, who's going to run after Biden and all that stuff? And it's probably going to be Gavin Newsom, and it'll be a big back and forth about whether it should be Kamala or it should be Gavin, and will it be a back and forth of whether they should do it, or do you tip the hat and just move forward if you think she can get elected, or do you have an issue with, an entire chunk of the electorate that crossed over and voted for Biden, not voting for Kamala because she's a woman of color? Do you still have to worry about that? And so therefore you're going to get the policies if you get Gavin Newsom. We'll have that conversation later. How about that? But what is going to happen in November is that this motherfucker is done.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I agree. Chat room, you guys are lovely. Let's see. Do I have? You did that one. We did this one. It's the same shit. And then on a side note, so one of the stories that came up was this idea that Trump won't be able to go to Barron's graduation, which and everybody's like, he never went to anybody else's, didn't go to Tiffany's, didn't go to Eric's, didn't go to Don Jr.'s, didn't go to Ivanka's, which is fucking weird. You'd think of all of them, he'd be there just to meet her friends. But in the meantime, he's all fucking upset, right? Thank you, Gothic Blue, appreciate that. Thank you for the super chat, and thanks for the likes, everybody. Thanks, hit those bits and stuff. People on Facebook, you can stars your way into this conversation. I'm just saying. So, apparently, Gut Feelings over here has it says this would give Trump martyr status. Okay, I got news for you, fuckwad. Martyr status, you gotta die. That's kind of the standard. You're super weird. Just because he suddenly he doesn't have to sing one of these things is not like the other with Barron's graduation versus the rest of his children. That's not martyr status. But let's hear it. And he's got plenty of jokes. They've worked very hard on this show. Let's find out. All right. By the way, hit that like. That is, and his butt was voted #1 in late. Okay, I don't know why that's a thing. This is many of you will recognize this as the Garfield logo, which is super fucking weird.
Yes! Happy Tuesday, everyone!
Is that how? Well, I guess this had to happen because I was.
Oh, delicious! All right. So. During a meeting with Iraq's prime minister, President Biden's crib sheet was caught on camera, which included directions to pause. Here's another one that simply said,
they're asking for a pause. It's not a direction to a pause. It's a pause in the fighting. Stupid. Pause in the fight. That's what the pause is. And there's a difference between a pause and a ceasefire, because a ceasefire would have to be predicated on whether or not you can get hostages, whereas a pause might not involve the hostages. See what I mean? He's so stupid.
If lost, go to 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. And then here's another one. And another. He works for...
Guys, you could have, first of all, okay, the type is too big, but I understand you got to sell this to your viewers, but your bigotry is not his bigotry.
Iraq, not 7-Eleven. And also spotted was this other card that said, don't fart, it could be poop.
Okay, again, Trump has a history of sharding on camera on The Apprentice, and he's gonna shit his pants during this trial. Just get used to the idea. Also, I've done multiple videos where Trump farted on camera. But we heard it.
Anyway, the U.S. Olympic uniform for track athletes apparently has sparked concern over being too revealing. Female athletes have complained that the outfits are so sheer you could see their penises.
Then they wouldn't be female. It's women versus male or female. It's gender versus sex. What a bunch of assholes. Shah reveals stunning, stranded, trying to point to huge challenge for the city. Don't care. People laying in the streets. Some joke. There'll be a Pocahontas joke, right? Annie Oakley. Something like a stressful time of the day is 8:15 in the morning. We know this. This is just old jokes, which is because the Fox and Friends are on. OJ's dead. I couldn't myself by OJ's. Okay, if I did it. This is the Bronco. These are the 90-Day Bachelor. Or Golden Bachelor, whatever the fuck it was. South African butts rated biggest in the world is like something about it cannot lie, and so that's why Bill Clinton goes to Africa and helps out because he likes to whatever. Okay, and then we go to here's a smiling ex-president, and here's the opposite. Okay, so let's pick up wherever the fuck they're talking about this shit.
Trump's on trial for allegedly falsifying business records related to payments to porn star Stormy Daniels.
And Karen McDougal, and killing stories with David Pecker at the Inquirer, and that there's over 30 counts, I think, in the falsifying business records, and it wasn't just the payments to Stormy. She's the primary in this, but there are multiple acts.
Turley added that it's a misdemeanor and the statute of limitations ran out. Somehow.
Right, but he was president for 4 years, and they couldn't go after him while he was president. So that pause also means that he doesn't get to run out the clock by being president.
None of that matters in New York City, where guys who randomly punch kids are given a pat on the back and a key to the city. But when it comes to
so far, that hasn't happened yet.
Porn star payments, you'd better keep records more detailed than a CVS receipt.
Okay, CVS receipts are not known for their details. They're known for their length. That's the joke about it, is as long as a CVS receipt, because it's got kind of shit on it. Also, it isn't the details. It's the lies about it. It's not like he didn't keep enough records. It's that he just flat out lied about what it was for. It was like single line bullshit instead of multi-line bullshit. That's not the complaint.
But first up, what's up with hush money?
I don't know. Ask his wife and whatever prenup they have, and why evangelicals would even vote for a fucker like this.
Not supposed to talk about sleeping with a porn star? If that were me, I wouldn't shut up about it.
No, the porn star would probably, be paying you to keep quiet.
My friends would be like, yes, we know, Greg. Then Stormy tied you down and spanked you unconscious with a pickleball racket. How many times are you going to tell us? Me?
What? Spanked you unconscious with a pickleball racket. Okay, the joke would be, I suppose, tied you down and spanked your ass with a rolled up issue of World's Shittiest Comedians magazine with your face on the cover. Is that where we're going? Because if we're going one for one.
Sleeping with adult film stars, I wouldn't be able to keep it a secret, and neither would they.
Yeah, they'd all get laughed at everywhere. It'd be a running gag. And I do mean, well.
But they should. They should shut up. That's the deal when you charge for sex. You break that time.
Hey, stupid, she didn't charge for sex. She did not charge for sex. He didn't pay a prostitute to fuck her, and then she didn't keep that conversation quiet at all. He just cheated on his wife.
Honored pledge, and you soil what is otherwise a noble profession that gave us Mata Hari, Heidi Fleiss, and Eleanor Roosevelt. I might be wrong on that one.
Yeah, it's a non sequitur. Also, no, it's not prostitution. Wasn't prostitution, never was.
Anywho, Trump's not happy.
As you know, my son is graduating from high school, and it looks like the judge will not let me go to the graduation of my son.
Maybe Stormy could go. it's just a thought. If you send somebody in your stead.
Worked very, very hard. He's a great student. He's very proud of the fact that he did so well.
You can't just say, I love my son and I want to be there. Is it that painful? You really fucking can't say, I love my son, he's graduating from high school, I want to be there when he does. You wouldn't have gone if his grades weren't good enough? What the hell?
I was looking forward for years to have graduation with his mother and father there, and it looks like...
Again, what a weird way to talk about it. Myself and, Melania and I have been talking about this for years, that we really look forward to the day he gets the fuck out of here. I mean, he graduates.
The judge isn't going to allow me to escape this scam. It's a scam trial.
The graduation's at night. It's on a Friday. They don't even have court on Friday, insofar as I know right now. And he's already said if they are moving along quickly, he'll probably get the day off. He'll probably be able to do it.
I haven't seen him this ticked off since I rejected his offer to be the spokesman for Trump Steaks. What can I say? I'm a dedicated vegan. Closest I come nowadays to putting meat in my mouth is when I do downward facing dog in my nude yoga class.
They wrote that joke for him and he doesn't like it. It's uncomfortable.
Of course, in their zeal to destroy Trump.
Yeah, he's mad that they talked him into doing it.
Dems are doing him a favor again. For one thing, high school graduations are boring. You sit there for hours in a hot, sweaty auditorium and listen to a bunch of names of strangers' kids.
First of all, how do you know? Does Greg Gutfeld have kids who graduated from high school? And secondly, did Greg Gutfeld actually graduate from high school?
Just to see 20 seconds when the only important one is getting his diploma. If you're...
Oh, so the girls in your family don't graduate from high school? All right, that's good to know.
You're lucky the kid in the wheelchair might pop a wheelie.
What?
What's wrong?
Yeah, I'll tell you what's wrong. It's not a joke at all, and it's fucking odd to bring it up. It's kind of gross. Why is it? It's never the audience's fault, I would like to say, for the record. I don't believe in tough crowds. It's on you. If you set out to make people laugh, you better fucking do it. And if you don't, it's not their fault, it's your fault. Sorry, but it's a hard and fast rule. It's why I'm funny. Don't forget.
And it's not like it's hard to get a high school degree. Everyone has one except
Lauren Boebert.
Greta Thunberg. It's a high school diploma, for Christ's sake. It's like an Adderall prescription. At that age, everyone gets one.
What? This is so fucking weird. Like, I mean, I expect them to come up with an excuse, to talk around this issue or make jokes, but you really couldn't come up with, like, Trump positive jokes about him actually going to the thing. Like, he shouldn't just be going, he should be giving I mean, ultimately, the minute I even think about it, I'm starting to write like Colbert jokes about it. Like Trump would just bum rush the stage. Go, actually, I'm the valedictorian. I don't have anything prepared. I'm just going to free ball it if I do. But success is easy for me. It's not going to be for you. A lot of you will be flipping burgers, except my son, who will get whatever's left of my totally burned down, shitty company.
Plus, it's just stressful being around all those seniors. How many times can I repeat, call me when you're 18? But maybe I'm just resentful, because nobody cared when I graduated from cosmetology school. I was class valedictorian and received the Vidal Sassoon Award for Outstanding Achievement in Hair Treatment. I came
God. Ugh. 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 It's here. Okay. There's general rule. First of all, on a show like this, that's on a political network at night, just say it. Non sequiturs don't actually have a place. Then they serve no comedic value, because the whole point of the show is that it's about the politics of the day, and it's slanted politics. This is supposed to be right-wing comedy. So you don't get to get out of joking about the actual subject free card. It's not our fucking fault that Trump's such a lame-o that you can't make jokes in his defense because A, you suck and so does he. So you don't get to just throw in a lot of rando things and try to get points for being weird and get non sequitur laughs. I like mass recess. I love non sequiturs too. But there's a time and a place. And first, in a situation like this, can you imagine if if Bill Maher's opening of his show, like if every joke was just a non sequitur, just randomized odd details that it's funny because it's weird. No, that doesn't work. Especially, again, this is on a political network. It's political comedy. Do your fucking job.
Up with the first pubic hair straightener for inmates.
For inmates.
It was called Haired Straight. But if Trump wants to go to his son's...
What? Again, this is just fishing for laughs. Like, I can't write any stuff that pertains to the actual situation. I don't have any jokes that don't make fun of Trump, so I got to make rando jokes. That's what this is. And I just got to say, in a couple weeks at Sexy Liberal Philadelphia, you're not going to see any of that shit because John and Frangela and Steph and I, we're totally good at writing jokes about what's actually fucking happening. Just saying. And a lot of it's brand new all the fucking time because we work for a living.
Graduation, he should. Graduations are like losing your virginity. It only happens a few times. And try...
What? Jesus Christ. Just... somebody... Can we just send him an email that says, try harder?
To stop him is the biggest favor the Dems can do for him. They'll give him martyr status.
You don't get martyr status for missing a graduation date because you had an affair and you tried to hide it from the electorate and your wife. He even did that post on Truth Sinkhole where he was like, who is going to tell Barron? You motherfucker, you're his dad. You had the affair. You cheated on his mom right after he was born. You tell him. That's family shit. It's not our affair. It's none of us. We don't have anything to do with it.
He's already like Jesus in that he's the only one who could raise Joe Biden from the dead.
What?
Just imagine if Trump blows off a day of this dumb trial to watch his son graduate and the cops show up and arrest him. You want bad optics? It'll look worse than the time Jesse wore leggings to sexual harassment training. Sure.
That was a joke. They didn't fly earlier on the 5, or Jesse got upset by it, so he had to punt it down to this show.
The libs in every newsroom will cheer. Jon Stewart will joke about it on The Daily Show, or TDS, as I like to call it. How did he swing that gig anyway? Like Chris Christie's personal trainer, this guy only works one day a week. And those...
This is so weird.
Clucking hens on The View will high-five each other so hard Joy will break both her wrists and have to eat her hay and oats bent over a trough.
I guess that would be a horse face joke. Is that the idea?
But the rest of America, the actual voters, they all got to go to their children's...
Oh, they're using the new elephant, because normally the trunk is on this side, but this is the new Lara Trump Republican animal. It's a headless elephant with a prolapsed anus. It's basically to show that the party has become the party of Trump. It's a headless elephant with a prolapsed anus. That's its butthole turned inside out instead of a trunk. It's good that he's using it. I'm glad it's getting some legs.
Graduations, or hope to one day. They'll see the injustice and they will go nuts. So if you're watching President Trump, just...
That looks like an edit to me. That looks like they cut it.
See the injustice and they will go nuts. So if you're watching President Trump, just go to the graduation. You know, I bet some Brit will steal that line.
If you're watching President Trump, just go to the graduation. Every parent in America, whether they like you or hate you, will go, yeah, I'd have done that too.
It's at night. He can. It's in Baltimore. He's got a plane.
Because this case is utterly ridiculous. Why would you not think that what you're doing here is going to almost guarantee Donald Trump wins the next election?
Because it will drive away evangelicals, at least the ones that still have some semblance of belief in their system, and they'll be reminded how gross he is. And then on top of that, that will line up right behind the people who hate him for national security reasons on the documents case, and the other people who have now realized he's been lying about his finances, and he's not actually a billionaire this whole time, which is a good third of the Republican electorate that is not voting for him. That would be the Nikki Haley voters who all voted for her even after she dropped out to give him the finger.
The only thing that could absolutely guarantee it is if he's found guilty and put in a prison cell. Because at that moment, Trump wins by a landslide.
Nope. No, he does not. No. That, again, you might be able to motivate the maggots on some level, but there are a bunch of Christians out there who voted for him the first time who are not going to show up and step into a voting booth and vote for this fucking guy while he's in jail for paying a porn star for an affair he had that he hid from them as voters. It's not going to happen.
For once, a Brit is right about something.
Also, by the way, that was before. See how it says Monday? He said this, Brit's going to say that sooner, and he said it before. This is a show from Tuesday.
Well, it's easy when you're competing with Prince Harry, the Teletubbies, and Mr. Bean. But once again, Turley said it best.
Mr. Bean's a character, and so are the Teletubbies, you realize. And also, isn't Prince Harry, well, never mind. Well, that I'm not opening that can of worms. We fought a Revolutionary War, so I don't give a fuck about royals. That's my rule.
Everything about this case is, in my view, legally absurd.
Hey, asshole. That's not a real office behind you. That's a Zoom background. I don't want to hear it. At least when I have a fake background, I make it a space station, so I'm not making a fake fancy house behind me, you chintzy fuck. Secondly, you defended him in the actual impeachment. You are jockeying to be on his legal team because you think there's some money to be had later. Or you're already getting paid to simply do this part of it.
You know, this case is basically a state misdemeanor that had run out on the statute of limitations. They took a dead misdemeanor and bootstrapped it into effectively trying a federal crime. But the federal crime here under election...
It's not a federal crime. It's the state crime they're trying him on. The federal crime, they couldn't get him on because Cohen's the only person who went to jail for that. So Michael Cohen went to jail for this conspiracy, and Donald Trump was going to get off scot-free. And also, he's lying about it and recommitting the felony every time he talks about it.
Law was rejected by the Department of Justice.
Right, because they had bigger fish to fry, not because, in the same way that, they're going after somebody for murder, they're going to drop the pot possession charge.
They didn't feel that this should be charged.
He's got great eyebrows. Anyway.
You have no eyebrows.
He's right. It's lawfare. They can't beat Trump politically.
They are beating Trump politically.
Because so far he's defied all the laws of politics. So they've decided to defy all the laws. Alvin Bragg is like OJ, except slower, fatter, and more alive.
I think it's just a black thing, right?
They're twisting the law like a balloon animal with scoliosis to prevent a second Trump term, and they could very well end up bringing it about. On the first day, over half the jurors were nixed after saying they...
A balloon animal with scoliosis. They
couldn't be impartial.
It's weird. You just gotta, do this odd dunk on scoliosis. You have to just kind of bring that up at random to try and sell a joke. You have no other references. Eesh.
No, the city is bluer than a Smurf's balls after sitting on an ice block. So it's not within...
Right. Move your fucking studio then. Oh, wait, you can't get the guests you want because they all live there too, because it's a better city, because it's as blue as Smurf balls.
In the court, that matters, where the evidence is key. It's what's outside the courtroom, where the pressure to crush Trump matters more.
No, actually, the jury will consider the evidence.
Bottom line, the Dems hate Trump so much that they're willing to destroy the legal system.
How? He's still getting a jury. He still gets to pick who he wants, right? He's got, 10 automatic exclusions, and they have at-cause unlimited exclusions, just like the prosecution does. He's going to get it. He's got his day in court. He's got his high-priced legal team. I mean, it's not our fault that he hires dipshits. That's on him. But what part of it is missing? He didn't even have to post bond in this case.
And now they're on the verge of cementing their own worst nightmare, another Trump term. And this time he'll be older, wiser, and hopefully less horny.
Ew.
Let's welcome.
Okay, I know it says period, but there's an exclamation point at the end of it. It's just
Tonight's guest, her swear jar is an aquarium. Co-host of Outnumbered Emily Campagno.
Her swear jar is an aquarium. That is I don't even think that qualifies as a non sequitur.
He draws big crowds and sometimes paints them. Writer and comedian Joe DeVito. She's
drawing and painting, being yeah.
Like Gene Simmons, she wears tons of makeup and can't sing. New York Times bestselling author and Fox News contributor Kat Tiff.
So weird. It's just so weird. Like, are they? They're all like this. This happens every fucking night on this show.
And his doctor uses a surfboard as a tongue depressor. New York Times bestselling author, comedian, and former.
Did he just show the shocker?
Emily, as a lawyer, I have to ask you this question.
Why are you wearing highlighter yellow? Are you afraid someone will mistake you for a deer?
That was confusing. You're the lawyer. They could have easily changed the venue and not have this problem with the jury, but they chose not to, and the jury is proving the point that this is a contaminated site.
A contaminated site. Okay, this is we don't need to watch the rest of this because it's going to be a waste of fucking time. We'll get through her answer, and the rest of it I don't give a fuck. But this isn't me, right? This is just ham-handed and stupid.
How can this go on?
Well, he committed a crime in New York. That's where it happened.
And the judge doubled down by saying this is the most thorough questionnaire he's ever seen. And so have no fear, he said at the end, we will, in fact, impanel an impartial jury. But to your point,
an impartial jury is what you're looking for. Also, they're going to have it by Monday.
It's being proven along the way that there's no amount of people here that can be impartial. I argue, because I live here too, not because they're anti-Trump, but because they see the legal absurdity, the absolute that this is. And
well, if they see it, then they're being impartial in his direction.
Any normal person can see this is an absolute travesty. And to
no, not at all. You have to work at Fox or one of these organizations, or be have Trump painted on your truck to even talk about this in terms of absolute travesty.
On a postscript to Jonathan Turley's point earlier, not only is the federal crime, the statute of limitations has run, but what jurisdiction does a Manhattan DA have over a federal law anyway?
Yeah.
Well, they don't. They're not trying him on that federal charge. They can't. It's a state crime for falsifying business records because he lied about that crime. Now, it's up to the federal government to try him, but they don't have to wait for the federal government to try somebody on for like if somebody is, I don't know, let's go back to Beverly Hills Cop. You know the cigarettes that Axel is selling in the beginning of the movie, right? That are from the bust they did before, and he takes them and he tries to sell them to these guys. Okay. The idea is that they buy them in another state or they sneak them across the border and they've got a federal tax stamp already on them and they're selling them in Detroit illegally. That's the idea. If the state wants to try these guys for illegally selling cigarettes with a federal tax stamp on them in their state, and they don't have to wait until the federal government charged them for illegally putting a federal tax stamp on it. They don't have to wait until the federal government charges them for illegally trafficking, untaxed goods across a state line, right? They don't have to wait for that. They can say this is in the furtherance of a crime because they're selling, like untaxed goods across state lines, and they don't have the right to do it. But we don't have to wait for them to do it. That's what this is about.
It makes no.
Do I have to? You're welcome. Can I just? I'm pretty good at explaining this stuff. I'd like to think. Sometimes I check the clarity of what I'm talking about, just to make sure I'm getting through. But I have a good feeling about my record these days of analogizing these things, especially as weird as these assholes are.
No sense.
I have to say this too about the high school.
I don't think you have to.
Graduation. He is punishing Barron because the person.
Trump is? By what? Having an affair when he was 5 months old?
Parents, of course, they want to see their kid graduate, of course.
Of course. I mean, I don't know why he didn't want to see any of his other kids graduate, but maybe, maybe you come around. Oh, I missed out.
That is so important, but it is most important to the student to see your family there in the audience.
So that's what's wrong with Don and Eric and Ivanka and Tiffany, then you think? That was what scarred them? That was like the first big one? She might have a point. She might have a point. I don't believe in tracking this shit back. And I also think that once you hit 35, all of your problems are your own. I don't give a fuck what your parents did to you as long as it wasn't fit. They weren't putting cigarettes out on your eyelids. If you're just like, I don't know if they gave me enough attention. Okay, well, I don't give a shit. You're 35. Give yourself some attention and shut the fuck up. But I can trace this. I wouldn't be surprised if this shit traced back to Eric and Don Jr. being a mess.
I've been at a million schedulings, a million hearings, and every judge always, oh, you got a dentist appointment? Okay, tell me, you operate based on that in part to cover your ass at the appellate level. So the fact that he's doubling down and treating him as already convicted, already incarcerated.
He's not. Trump's attorney insulted the judge, said, we don't even believe we should have to be here, period. And he goes, we'll get there. If we're making progress on this, I'll make sure we have time to take this off or whatever. But he wasn't going to give him time to go to the fucking Supreme Court when he didn't even go before. He didn't go for the other cases. He just wants to go to this one because he's in court right now. He's trying to delay this as long as fucking possible because he knows he's guilty.
Where you do say, no, I'm sorry, it's your mother's funeral, but nope, I'm not going to grant you leave. He's doing that now?
No, he isn't. He is not doing that. He isn't. He said, we'll revisit it as we're getting closer to it. He seemed predisposed to do it already, but then Trump's attorney decided to insult the entire process, and he said, I've had enough of you. Sit down. We'll talk about this later. That was what it was. Trump came out and said, it doesn't look like this judge is going to let me go to blah, blah, blah. Like, he's trying to pressure the judge.
All of this is setting up, if a conviction happen, heaven forbid, it will
it's going to happen.
Absolutely be overturned on appeal.
No, it isn't.
No question.
Yeah, it's not. It is. There's why? Because he didn't let him out to go to a graduation he could have gone to just after court and still made it in his airplane. Oh, thank you so much. Thanks, Michael.
Joe, it's interesting. Bill Clinton not only went to Chelsea's graduation during his whole mess, he spoke at the ceremony and then afterwards banged 3 teachers. This is hypocrisy at its finest.
Yeah, but it is also multitasking at its finest.
Yes.
As a lawyer myself,
yes,
I think Trump's given us the best way to get out of any.
Here comes the punchline. I think this is the wind up. I don't know how much more of this I can take.
Social obligation is to just say, I would love to go to that christening, but unfortunately, I've got this trial with a porn star is extorting me. She keeps telling everybody we had sex with each other. I think all this does is make Trump look like a good dad.
Jesus Christ. No, it does not. Not in any... Oh, God. But I do have to say, it's lovely watching them try to patch the holes in this fucking boat as it goes, though. Now, speaking of patching holes in a leaky boat, ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the man with the marzipan face and Alina Hubba Hubba, who this is, I think, the only interview I could find, a direct interview that was recent with her. Now, she's not on this case. She's on the business case, but she's not on this case. and I think it's just because he doesn't want her to meet the other women he hired for their looks on the other team. Because you know how chicks get, right? That's what
we saw 6.
I don't know where he's starting with it. One-on-one with Trump legal spokeswoman Alina Habba. I think she is an attorney on another case. Spokeswoman. Again, she's a tele-lawyer.
Jurors, I believe, picked today. How
7
in the world is this man could get a fair trial?
Well, he's got attorneys in the prosecution. They have the ability to question these folks and pick them up.
In Manhattan, New York City, with its judge and this prosecutor.
Impossible. I think it's impossible, quite honest.
Well, yeah, that's because you've been around him. You've sat next to him for a long time. There's no way he sits near normal people for that length of time and they don't go, fuck this dude.
We're in a blue state. That's all by design. Don't get it twisted, folks.
What was the design part? That Democrats tricked him into growing up there and living there and committing his crimes there and engaging in money laundering schemes with Russians and Kazakhstani pimps. That's the design part.
Do this intentionally, just like they bringing the one in Washington, just like.
Oh, you mean the one where he took classified documents from Washington? Maybe he should only commit crimes in places where he's doing better in the polls. Why doesn't he just go fuck around in Florida and Texas? How about that? Just go crime the fuck out of those 2 states and leave the rest of us alone.
Georgia. They pick these states on purpose. They choose.
No, he picked these states. He's from there.
DAs and AGs that all have one thing in common. So
that they're serving in the legal area where he committed his crimes.
Rose backing and people like them. And they're on a political mission. This really isn't about the law. It's not about law and order.
By the way, I don't know who's got more lip filler, her or Eric Boehler.
It's not about the Constitution. It's about the demise of the same. And we're watching it happen before our eyes. If there was any
our eyes that barely shut. I can only do 1 blink a week.
Question with the civil cases that I went through.
It's wonderful. Mm-hmm.
Well, now it's clear, you know, the fact that this 8-year-old way past statute of limitations case is being heard in New York.
Way past.
Is pathetic. It's
pathetic.
Obvious, and it has
obvious so bad
to stop.
Alina, Maggie Haberman was in the courtroom yesterday, and
and she saw Trump fall asleep, and then he did it again.
A reporter from the New York Times, and she claimed.
Really, you think Alina Habba doesn't know who Maggie Haberman is?
Claims that
Maggie Haberman is the only person that hangs around with Trump more than Alina Habba.
That Trump fell asleep. I mean, weigh in on this. Is she wrong? I mean, she very adamantly believes he fell asleep, and he says
she doesn't believe it. Everybody saw it. The courtroom artist, the sketch artist, drew him sleeping.
He didn't. What do you weigh in on this, please?
I was not there. I find that a remarkable story at best.
A remarkable story at best. So it's true.
President Trump, you know, he reads a lot. I don't know what he was doing. I wasn't there. There are no cameras. I wish there were, but he's been sitting there as
he reads a lot. All right, this is all bullshit then. We're just going 100% bullshit. No, he does not. He does not read. I'll just stop there. Fuck it.
He's forced to.
Much less a lot.
At the threat of going to jail if he's not sitting there for what I assume would be a very mundane day. They are going through jury selection. There were a tremendous amount of motions being heard yesterday.
Yes, all of them that might affect whether or not he goes to fucking jail. The kind of thing that would keep you awake.
But no, look, I wasn't there, so I can't comment on that. I find that to be a ridiculous thought, though.
You know Michael Cohen yourself? Do you know him personally?
Have you ever slept with him? I mean, been around him when he was sleeping? Has he ever slept near you? Are you asleep right now? Uh-oh, Eric fell asleep.
Yes, I do.
I do too. I've known him a long time. He wanted to be part of the Trump administration. When he wasn't, he felt jilted, and that's when he turned on Trump. My point
is that what it was? It wasn't the whole, like, Trump just let him go to jail, laid it off on him?
Here's my question.
Here's my question. Am I going to jail? Delina, I've known Trump for a long time, and you've known him for a while and stuff. I'm just afraid we're all going to jail. I know I've seen and done things that I wouldn't normally do, and I've never felt this level of regret before. I've had injections of marzipan in my actual cheeks since I met Trump. I let that lady at Mar-a-Lago inject me with, I think it was nougat. I don't know what the hell's in my face right now.
For him to go out and have these comments over the weekend on news shows with Stephanopoulos and CNN and others, or wherever he goes to, trashing Trump, I mean, really being degrading to the defendant. Alina, how is he not censored? And this judge is going to make a decision.
Because, by the way, Trump can talk about him. He just can't talk about the judge's family and the jurors and the staff there. He just wants to attack even the judge allows him to attack him. It's just not the rest of people. It's the same thing we went through in Goron.
Whether or not Trump should be fined for what he said, and all he's trying to do is point out the inequity of this trial.
No, he isn't. Is that what he's trying to do? He's trying to point out the inequity of this trial. Why don't you just fucking say that and then go about being, Oh, because he's a witness? Well, Trump can't talk about Michael Cohen, because he's a witness in this situation. But he can speak about his experience. The witness can talk about it, because that actually, I guess, gives them ammunition if he says something in public and they go, didn't you say this in this interview and now you're saying this, right? You gotta have your story straight.
Yeah, that's spot on, Eric. Honestly, the fact that there's a First Amendment violatory gag on President Trump right
Violatory gag
now, and people that he controls, quote unquote, is ridiculous. Many witnesses, not just him, are out there saying whatever they want to say to whom.
He's written books about it. Trump tried to stop his book from coming out while he was president.
Whenever they want to say it in a very abrasive manner. And
oh, is that okay? If they said it in using refrigerator poetry, or they hummed it, that would be okay. But it's the abrasive manner. Is that what it is? They say laughter is the best medicine, sunshine is the best disinfectant, and truth is the best exfoliant.
And profiting, not to mention, from their Substacks and otherwise. But when
Trump speaks, he loses money. Have you seen his stock lately?
Trump chooses to respond or repost something that's clear evidence that will show that their motivation is crooked and his is not, and that he was in fact in the White House when all of this was happening.
Right. Yes, he wrote checks. He wrote hush money checks while he was in the White House. Not a good thing to bring up as his model lawyer, whatever, his spokes lawyer.
He gets threatened with being put in jail and fined. That is the state of America, unfortunately, that we are in. I guess what I'm lost on is how the judge could say that they're worried about jury influence and tainting of a jury by President Trump, but not by them.
Well, because it's about intimidation. Like again, people speaking about their experience to whatever limit that they can speak about. You're allowed to tell the truth out part of it, but not denigrating the other person. That would be the thing. Just casting aspersions you have no evidence on. These people are going to have to speak to whatever they say on the stand. They're going to have to, whatever they say out in public, they're going to have to answer to. Trump does not have to take the stand. As witnesses, they do. So he can bullshit all he wants in public and then refuse to take the stand. And the jury is not allowed to make, any kind of inference from the fact that he's not taking the stand and saying something different. They just have to believe whatever he said in public.
And I would like to see us file some motions to basically say, hey, look, you're either going to sequester them or you're going to stop this and fine them. They know they're active. They know they're going to be in these cases, in these trials called as potential witnesses. Why aren't they the ones being sanctioned? It's a very good question.
No, it isn't.
It's crazy not to. I can't imagine. I think you get 10 strikes. In other words, this juror we don't like, you can strike this person.
No, you get 10 strikes without any kind of cause. You could just say, we don't have to tell you why we don't like that person, but they got to go. Both sides get those. You've got unlimited strikes based on cause. If you could prove to the judge that this person cannot be fair, and you can make that case, then that person can get kicked off.
You only get 10. There's going to be hundreds who are going to be, I guess, processed or questioned. It's crazy that with such a left-leaning city and the way they're treated.
If it's such a left-leaning city, it should be really fucking easy to prove that they can't be fair. What do you think? New Yorkers have a smaller social media footprint than everybody else?
Treating Trump already, the deck is stacked against him. This idea of not allowing Trump to go to Barron's high school graduation, is that normal? Can they? Is this something out of the norm, or do defendants typically are not allowed?
Yes, typically defendants don't get to define what the schedule is.
To leave the courtroom for these types of things? Or would the court sometimes do that for a defendant?
Yeah, sometimes they'll go, hey, how many kids you got? I have 5. Did you go to the other 4? No. Well, then we'll see. But if you go, yeah, I was at every one of my kids' graduations. It's a primary thing. It's something that we're all very proud of, and I don't want to deny my son that. I guarantee he will get the time off to do it.
Defendant.
Of course they would do that. There are times that there are holidays that people observe, that you build out a schedule, you give the jurors.
It's not, high school graduation isn't a fucking holiday.
Days off, you let somebody go for a wedding, a holiday. Jurors are actually not going to sit because one juror yesterday said he had a wedding in June and they were concerned that this would run into that. These are the.
Yeah, they're a juror though. They don't have a responsibility to be there.
Types of things that a normal.
Hi, Wes. What the fuck does that mean? Wes Webb?
Normal judge would process, consider, and be a human being, frankly, about it. You're not just an attorney. You're not just a judge. You're a human being. And
right. And Trump didn't go to any of his other kids' graduations.
There was no murder here. There was nothing. There was somebody in the accounting department at the Trump organization while the president was sitting in the Oval Office that booked a legal issue as a legal issue in the accounting records. And now they're making a misdemeanor a felony. What is the rush? The only rush that we have.
No, by the way, this whole idea of misdemeanor making it a felony, it's a state felony because of the egregious nature of it. That's what pushed it up. Not the fact that these are the misdemeanor charges on a state level, and then the federal version of it is what they're trying to do is punt this off and make it look like the state version of this crime is nothing. Again, the trafficking of the cigarettes as a federal crime is somehow serious, but the selling of them in the city is not. That should be a misdemeanor. It's not the same fucking thing. It's still the same violation. It's just a violation of local taxes as opposed to federal taxes, and it affects the state directly.
Is November 5th, 2024. And this is the only trial that'll probably go forward. And this judge knows that.
Nope.
So he's being completely unaccommodating. He is being brash and frankly inconsiderate, not just to the president, but to the jurors that are.
What is he keeping all 100 of them?
Observing Passover or Sabbath on Friday and things of that nature. He's
Sabbath on Friday?
He said he would have some accommodation, but he's not thinking about the lawyers.
Right. Well, then you can't. That's people trying to get out of serving. What?
It's a full court press, and I think it's inconsiderate. I think it shows an agenda.
Also, he's ejecting some of these jurors based on that idea because they can't serve during the week when they're supposed to. He's letting them go home. Yeah.
I think that he's giving a lot of reasons for jurors not to want to serve on this panel.
He's also giving you a lot of reasons, the Trump team, for appeal is what he's at.
Nope.
Actually doing.
No.
Take a listen to Sonny Hostin over on The View. A couple of comments. Just listen to this soundbite. There's two things I want to unpack afterwards. Go ahead.
This is a legal nerd Super Bowl, right? Like, I'm kind of excited about the fact. That's the part I need to. But that's exciting to someone like me because, you know.
Is yellow the big thing in New York? Did we miss Fashion Week and everybody's dressed in highlighter yellow? It seems to be a theme.
The 50 people said, I can't even be impartial, which I admire them for their forthrightness and their honesty, because you have to be honest when you're a juror. But I still believe that they will be able to find an impartial jury. They are never going to find someone that doesn't know about the former twice impeached loser president.
Yeah. Your thoughts?
Wait, yeah, ouch. I can't believe she said that without bringing up pussy-grabbing, adjudicated rapist, fake billionaire. I mean, how can you leave those details off the table? Well, Eric, you and I both spend a lot of time with him, and all that is true. But
I think that it's going to be really hard. I think that.
Isn't that what Trump said to Stormy?
That finding an impartial jury will be incredibly difficult. I think that until you've sat in court and represented a former president, whomever that president may be, not just.
Yeah, totally. You know, all those times when we've had former presidents tried in court in multiple jurisdictions for variations of different crimes that nobody else would, like, commit in general, much less stack.
President Trump, to say that politics, especially the divisiveness that our country has right now, would not play a part in it is just naive. There's no possible way in the state of New York to completely have a clean jury. It's just not possible.
Well, then use that as your appeal and say, we got screwed by the juror. We can't prove it, but we want to try this again someplace else. And when he loses that one too, then I don't know what to tell you. Then what's your excuse then?
And on top of that, you have a judge who is clearly biased, who's regulating and determining what evidence this jury says. So lawyers can be lawyers, but if we're not allowed to introduce evidence, and
Wes Webb, I don't want you to change your mind. I just think you were being gross in your description of me as a human being, which is, I mean, you can. I don't care. I mean, I kind of do care, but it's more about like the tenor of the conversation in the room and do better.
I've had this happen in my prior cases, then we can't make them see things, right?
Yeah.
So he has a way of swaying them, and that's an element that people aren't talking about.
What I wanted to do is I wanted to play that because she called Trump a loser president. She called it her Super Bowl, watching him being raked through the coals on these lawfare trials.
No, she was talking about like the nerd Super Bowl because it's like another trial of the century. It's the same shit that goes down with OJ.
You know what I'd love to see, Alina? That was Sonny Hostin, and right next to it was Alyssa Farah, who used to work for Trump, who now has somehow become Trump deranged right now.
Yeah, it's weird. It's odd how so many people who spend a lot of time with Trump eventually go, fuck this dude. Honestly, I don't know anybody with that consistent a record of people that the closer they are to him and the more time they spend with him and the more of their life they put on the line for him, the more they reject him at some point.
I would love to see Alina Habba on that fifth seat on The View and just have someone fight for MAGA and fight for Trump instead of...
Yeah, she's not doing that even on this show. You think she can do it on the fucking View?
5 voices that are completely deranged leftist lunatics. Love to see it, Alina on The View. Let's make it happen, folks.
Yeah, put me on the 5 while you're at it. Well, actually, we have Jessica's on the 5. Put me on Gutfeld then. I'll just come in and do Gutfeld's show. How about that? Huh? I don't ask for much. I just want the ability to play clips and, in some cases, audio. If I may. Hold on.
Heard that Saudi Arabia and Russia will repeat your...
It's not too much to ask.
Folks, what do you say?
You know, I've said that, Eric. They like to talk about me, but they're afraid to face me, and that's you.
No, I just think they find you off-putting and stupid, and a conversation with you wouldn't be of any value because you're so predictable in your defense that you wouldn't add any new information. You'd just be basically there to parrot what he says, and that doesn't further the conversation at all.
Usually the way they go, they're cowards because they talk a big game. They say what their producers want them to say.
Oh, I see. So is that what women do? Is that your opinion of what women do? So women do what the person that hired them, they say what the person who hired them wants them to say. Is that how it works? I don't know why she would think that.
But are they actually speaking about Constitution? Are they speaking about things that could affect Biden, not just Trump? And I wonder.
Yes, they've talked a couple of times about age and whether that's going to hang against him, the Israel-Gaza stuff, whether that would hang against him, whether he's getting credit for some of the things that he's doing, whether he's messaging it well enough, or if Trump's going to be president. They've said many conversations while there was a lot of wailing and gnashing of teeth about the idea that Trump might actually pull this out again.
Wonder if they've ever been actually challenged. Instead, Whoopi Goldberg gets louder and louder and tries to
Yeah, it's the black lady thing, right? It's black ladies get really loud, don't they? Yeah. Does that bother you in some way? Does it seem you seem particularly sensitive to when the black lady gets loud? Is it she? Because she doesn't seem loud to me. She really doesn't. Volume wise, I mean, personality wise, I was sure, but it just seems like maybe when you hear her voice, it sounds louder to you for some reason. Is that? I don't know.
deflect, and it's very clear to anybody with a brain. But if you want to sit down
Oh, so that's just mean to do to Eric.
and have a hard conversation, I'm welcome to
love
be
to see it.
invited on. I'd be happy to show up.
Love to see it. Alina Habba, thank you for your time. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Eric.
Thank you, Eric. It's wonderful. Thank God I am not on that team. Yeah, she's only handling his civil stuff. She is not on the criminal trials, I don't think. I mean, I think they even bounced her from the I think she was on the documents case, but then she got bounced at one point. All right. I'm way over time. Love you guys. Can I just show you one slice of something, cuz I just want to fuck around with these dudes real quick, if you don't mind. Ladies and gentlemen, stand in the gap. Stunning border update. This is the Flashpoint fellas. For those of you who don't know, this is the Kenneth Copeland network. This is the butt knuckle of the internet. This is the long drop off to nowhere in right-wing media.
Let me show you this. Jonathan Turley, he calls Alvin Bragg.
What a shock. They're really going to Jonathan Turley. Why would you go to Jonathan Turley? Because according to Trump, every legal scholar says this is a ridiculous case. Every legal scholar says this is absurd and should be thrown out. And yet, the only person you can find to say this that's technically a legal scholar is Jonathan Turley. Isn't that weird? How many legal? Is there only one legal scholar?
Bragg's case, a Frankenstein case. Watch.
This one in court.
Well, there's a novel question, John. I'm not sure. I mean, this is a Frankenstein case. They took a dead misdemeanor, they attached it to a dead alleged federal felony and zapped it back into life. So many of us are just amazed to watch this actually walk into court, because it's not.
Yeah, it's so weird. We thought we ducked this one.
Not a recognizable crime that any of us have seen.
Yes, it is. It is the crime of hiding another crime using falsification of business records. Multiple falsifications of business records. 30 counts of it.
It does not appear to be a federal crime, but
it isn't a federal. This is a state trial. It's a state. This is the feds. And again, you do not have to wait for the feds to try a case, to try a criminal for federal related crimes. If they choose not to do it, that's up to them. If they don't think they have the evidence to do it, but you have evidence that they falsified business records and they're the ones who are supposed to try them for the big federal case, then they can do that. But a felony and a federal crime are not overlapping or the same fucking thing. You can have a state fucking felony, you dipshit.
That's the theory that Bragg is using. So to go into the Wayback Machine, this state misdemeanor died because of the statute of limitations. Then what Bragg said was, well, I'm going to allege that you did false filings on business records to hide a crime. But he was very ambiguous what that crime might be.
Because the federal government has to have the ability to try it, and he cannot mess around with their whatever charges they would put to that if and when they ever went to it. But what he can do is go, this was to hide this is campaign, there's a law within the state effectively hiding a campaign issue from the voters using this fake moving around of business records. That's what it was.
Still is ambiguous, but it is assumed to be a federal election crime. The problem is the federal government doesn't view it as a crime.
Yes, they do. They just don't know if they can charge him on it or didn't at the time because Bill Barr was running interference and the statute of limitations might have run out on that federal crime, but it doesn't mean it wasn't a crime, and it doesn't mean the state has to allow a crime to be committed because the feds won't charge the greater crime.
Decided not to prosecute.
Doesn't make any fucking difference.
And most election experts say that this is the type of thing that's failed in the past.
Well, we'll see. How about this? That's why they're not charging him with an election crime, dumb fuck.
So this bizarre indictment is now going to be an equally bizarre trial. And to this day, there's some confusion as to Bragg's actual theory as to what was the exact crime that...
The exact crime is he committed a campaign finance, which is a federal crime. He was hiding what would be payments in kind from the Inquirer, where they buried stories on the cheap or for free, or that he paid them to do it specifically, and that he falsified records to make it look like he was paying his attorney legal fees when he was literally paying hush money to a porn star to hide it from the campaign. And again, he doesn't have to wait for the feds to eventually charge that federal crime for it still to be illegal to do that, to conceal it. And again, this is like, if it's a federal murder trial, they've got evidence. The person was killed in another state, and the feds have to try that. But the body was chopped up and disposed of in Midtown. Therefore, the state is going to try this person for fucking around with a corpse and dismemberment and desecration and being in possession of a murder weapon without cause. I don't know what the fuck. But they inside the state. They can't charge him with the murder because that happened in another state, and that's up to the feds. But you don't have to wait.
Trump was hiding from all this.
Okay, it just gets more bizarre as time.
Well, you know what? How about this? Since you guys believe in a higher power, beyond the courts, beyond the laws of man, why don't you just, by the way, this is Gene the Jesus Machine, everybody. Gene the Jesus Machine, why don't you break down what the moral crime was here? What did Trump do wrong on a personal level? And obviously, because he is a Christian and he asked the Lord for forgiveness and was sincere in his request for forgiveness, that he is obviously moved past that, unless he didn't and he doesn't believe he has to ask Jesus for forgiveness for anything.
Goes by. Let me read you what Lou Dobbs said. He says,
yes, Lou Dobbs, please go on.
What a disgusting, massively corrupt judiciary in New York. Donald Trump hush money case, more than 50 of the first 96 jurors are dismissed after admitting they can't be impartial in the former president's criminal case.
Right, that's not a weird number. And by the way, not all 50 of them said that. Somewhere like 42 of them did. Others just couldn't do it because they have, their adult caregivers and shit like that.
Pastor Hank,
happens all the time.
Those are just the ones that
Skank Kuhneman
were being honest and saying, we can't be impartial. We don't like the guy.
And by the way, I don't even know why you're discussing this issue with Skank Kuhneman. Why don't you just ask him to ask the Lord to tell him how this is going to happen? How it's going to shake down, what's going to occur. God obviously wants Skank Kuhneman to know how this is going to turn out. Why don't you just tell us all?
Well, you can see this is an outrage. And
Uh-oh. Outrageous.
First and foremost, they want this to hurt President Trump.
Why would it? What do you think? Why would your viewers have a problem with him fucking a porn star while his wife was at home with their 5-month-old? I mean, what's not to like?
On a personal level, that's why you can see the whole graduation thing, which is an outrage. The second thing is they want
It's just outrage.
it to hurt in his pocketbook. But here's really what
Why?
the liberals are trying to do, including
Oh, the liberals.
this corrupt judge, is
Yes, this corrupt liberal judge. You know, liberals who believe in the rule of law and that no one is above the law. All those liberal Enlightenment ideas.
they really want to create a narrative,
Outrageous.
just like the fake news has been doing since 2020, trying to convince the American people and the world about, how about this, that there was no election integrity issue of 2020. But what
Really? So you think this is about covering the already tried and tested bullshit big lie stuff, that we're so worried about that people have just decided, hey, you should be able to use campaign funds to pay your lawyer to give hush money to a porn star and hide it from the voters.
they're trying to do with President Trump? They're trying to make him look like he's a criminal. And
Why should you care? This is the Jesus Network. Shouldn't you? You don't have to give a fuck if he's actually a criminal. You just it's about whether or not he's a sinner and whether his sins were, you know, he's been forgiven and he's asked for forgiveness for those sins, which he has not done.
we should know from the example of the fake news and all the things that wound up being true, and that was this: there was no Russia collusion of Trump. There was no.
Yes, there was.
You know,
he hired Paul Manafort, who was working as a Russian sock puppet and for Yanukovych, and it resulted in people being shot by snipers during the Euromaidan. He also hired men off of Craigslist to have sex with his mentally incapacitated wife while he masturbated in the corner like some sort of extra skeevy ditty.
Remember the fake dossier?
Also, where did the Deutsche Bank money come from for all of his loans? Because they were totally fucking cool with him not paying them back.
The Mueller report that was stacked with a bunch of pages and documents and.
Yeah, I read it. Did you read it? Because I'm guessing you probably read half of the 4-page bar summary, which was bullshit.
Millions and millions of taxpayer dollar, and it proved out to be nothing. And
no, it did not. Like a dozen of the people around, like a dozen of his cabinet members and supporters and campaign staff went to jail over it.
President Trump was cleared. So
no, he was not.
So what does this mean going forward? They're trying another round to get people like you that are watching to think that President Trump has.
Is a lying scumbag and is mentally incapacitated and is not a real billionaire and is a pussy-grabbing, adjudicated rapist who has no qualms about sexually assaulting women and bragging about it. And then if he gets caught saying they're not worth sexually assaulting and shit like that, stuff that morally most genuine Christians would find fucking repugnant.
Committed some kind of crime, and you just.
Some kind of crime. Yeah, because obviously this channel isn't about the morality and ethics of life. It's about the laws of man and the technicality of it.
Just heard it. There isn't any crimes. They're trying to keep him off the campaign trail because they want to come up with another steal.
Why does he have to campaign anyways? Jesus is clearly on his side. He's God's chosen candidate because I guess America has to help Israel, get back on its feet so that when Jesus comes back, he can slaughter the Jews from Armageddon. I don't know. Can you draw me a map?
Plan like they did in 2020, or they think that they can stall out President Trump enough to where they can begin to come up with some other kind of weird scheme. But it's all going to back.
Yeah, that's what we're looking for. Some other kind of weird scheme. This weird scheme to point out that he's not really a billionaire, that he's an adjudicated rapist, that he has committed multiple financial crimes over his life, and he's a completely unrepentant fucking pig. It's a scheme to point that out.
Backfire, and here's why. All of this is going to produce something.
Evidence, a mountain of evidence.
I'll give you a biblical narrative very quickly. Shadrach.
Yeah, you better.
Meshach, and Abednego. I said this last night's program. What did
really? Meshach, Shadrach, and Abednego. That's where we're going.
They do. They turned up the heat 7 times hotter. It caused the fourth man, like unto the Son of God, to appear. Ultimately,
like unto
the righteous judge, God himself, it gives him a purpose and a mandate to.
God doesn't have a purpose and a mandate. I gotta say, like, I don't think God needs goals. I think if it's God, if you're talking about God and not some sort of like middle management spirit that oversees the earth for his uncle, if it's God, it's everywhere. It doesn't need a motivating force. Dum-dum.
Intervene at this time with his justice and.
I see. So maybe he's hardening the hearts of liberals so that, you know, we call his bluff and so he can finally come back. We're all part of the plan. I don't know what you're worried about. You should be happy, right? That's how it should work out.
His righteousness, and he is. And we're going to see this stuff turn around. And
totally.
Lastly of lasts, I keep saying it, God said, like feathers, they're all going to keep falling one by one.
That was 2 feathers at once. I'm just saying. And they didn't float down. I mean, why did you do that?
So pray for President Trump and do it.
Oh, I will. I'll pray for him to finally repent and come to terms with his sinfulness, as all people do. And he doesn't even have to do it in public. I mean, if he had any morals or ethics, he would.
Jesus said, keep your faith. Faith, Luke 18:8, for the justice of God against injustice.
Yeah, but you don't need faith for the justice of God against injustice. That's just about your mood, you selfish prick. Either there is a justice in the universe beyond this ethereal, in the ethereal plane beyond this material world, or there ain't. But either way, it doesn't give a fuck about how you feel about it. The faith is in that situation is about making yourself feel better about it in those moments, and it's totally fine. But it doesn't have it's not about motivating God by going, come on! Like, that's effectively, this is my impersonation of these 2 assholes praying. This is what it looks like. What the fuck? Come on, do it! What am I? Hey! That's their version of praying.
Amen. All right.
Yeah, amen. What the fuck? Amen. On that note, I'm going to go get some real sleep. I had a bit of a nap this afternoon, not as much as I would have liked, but then my cat missed me and was crawling all over me while I was laying down. It was a bit rough. It was adorable, but exhausting. Anyways, I adore you guys. Thank you so much. Take care of yourself and take care of somebody else, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Hit the like, subscribe, share the show, share the clips, share the bits. Let people know we're here. Infotainmentwars.com is our YouTube page. You can subscribe there. We're trying to get to 100,000. If you're on Twitch, don't forget to subscribe because it vanishes every month. And if you have Amazon Prime, it doesn't cost you a dime. And patreon.com/HalSparks, and there's the Venmo. And if you feel like I've entertained and educated tonight, think about helping out the show. And if you can't, don't worry about it. Just do all the free shit. Just share the show. And until next time.
I heard that Saudi Arabia and Russia will repeat your...
I will... I'll see you soon. See them. You can tell I'm tired. My earpiece is falling out. It's a lot.
but outside it's packed.
The past wasn't that long ago.
Michigan gave us Motang.
I had a beat off.
The Burmese executives. So this Burmese, they say, pronounce it Burmese.